This program is intended for a mature audience. If you are not 18 or older, stop listening and find more age-appropriate content. This show will cover topics in a satirical manner. If you are offended by any content herein, that is your own problem. As you have been warned, please do not try this at home, or anywhere else for that matter.
And now, for the most famous words in motorsports.
Oh, hell no!
And welcome to Blowing Pistons. Fuck, I'm already getting fucked up. I'm your host, Gremlin Dave. What?
You're fired.
Okay,
You're fired.
Fine. Fuck it, I'll go home.
You're at home. I give you 5 days to reconsider.
All right, fine.
And this show has been brought to you by...
I don't even hear you.
ResurrectionVapor.com.
Oh,
Vape
shit.
Walkie, soon to be coming to VapeWalkie.com.
So apparently we're doing sponsors before introducing?
We have to.
Really?
Yeah.
Contract.
Oh, okay, well, good
Yeah.
for you.
So that's out of the way, so get on with it.
All right, cool.
Wrong show.
Yes, relax.
I'm on every fucking show.
Whether we like it or not. What? All right, anyways. Johnny, shut up a second.
Come on, kids, slide into this one.
Do I really have to tell both of you to shut up? All right, so I'm your host, Gremlin Dave.
How's
Sitting
it feel?
You want to do the show? All right, we're going to do introductions here first because we do have some special guests in the studio with us. And we'll start out with my co-host. To my right.
Hi,
You going to say your name?
Johnny. Hi.
Is he on? Because I can't hear him at all. You might have to speak more into it.
Oh, dude, I'm right on
There
top
we
of it.
go.
Thank
Now
you,
I got
Michael.
ya.
Johnny, hi.
I forgot we put in one of the shitty mics instead of a studio mic on that one.
Yeah.
Josh was here last night.
Well, here, to my left, we have Michael. Obviously, you've already heard his voice 100 times.
Hi.
And then I will let you guys introduce you guys how you want to. I'll leave it to you. Go ahead.
Alrighty. Am I on?
Yeah, you're on.
Okay, I can hear myself now. Yeah. My name is
moves,
Mark
you know.
Ruderschild. I'm the president of Slide Society Drifting. And to my left, we have, fuck you, Scott, with your uppityness. Anyways,
I'm Scott. I work at a train shop.
Scott's a tranny. He's a tranny enthusiast.
Can we change his fluids later?
I'm going to check his oil later, that's for sure.
Man after my own heart.
So long as I get to hold the dipstick, I'm happy.
It's very small. It's a small dipstick, but that just makes things easy.
Is that transfluid or does he take regular
It's an either or
regular
question.
W?
Full
Dot
Yes.
Full service shop.
6? All right.
He does it all.
And then we'll go over to our next co-host. Is this Danny? Go.
Yep, I'm Danny. I guess you can say I'm a staff member for Slide Society.
I'm bringing up the nuts.
At the end. Yeah.
Our meaty clackers.
I do cool shit.
Come on, quit acting like it's the first time you've seen one up close.
I'm this big anyway.
It's intimidating.
So you've seen Hammer, got it.
Shut up.
Everyone's
so-
seen Hammer.
Anyways, so how you guys doing?
I'm doing pretty fantastic. I'm sitting here in a sweet basement with a lot of cool cats.
It's like a fog machine rolling through here.
Yeah, we are in foggy London town right now. There's a lot of vape clouds.
It's
Yeah.
a bit vapey.
Like
a
it looks
little
like
bit.
there should be a lot more Subarus in your driveway. That is for sure.
I don't think we even have one right now, do we?
Thank God.
Yeah. Our buddy from Veterans Vape and More, the Jake,
Yep.
who's currently outside on a phone call doing
That's a
something.
Honda.
No, that's Mike. He drives a Subaru.
That's a Honda in the driveway.
He drives a Subaru, too.
Well, I'm just telling you.
Have you-
I mean, in the driveway right now. We
Have
don't
you
have any
seen the
Subarus.
driveway? There's
Does it
a lot of shit out
identify
in the
as a
driveway.
Subaru?
A lot of cars.
Huh?
Does it identify as a Subaru?
I don't know. It's a Honda.
A plug wire.
Instant Subaru.
Instant Subaru.
There you go. So tell us a little bit about you guys.
Well, a little bit about us. We...
Mod down, mod down.
Uh-oh. He's got it. Well, we run a local drift association. We are basically for a lot of beginners and any skill level comes to our events. They're pretty fun. Circle tracks mainly. Yeah, I think all we really have is circle tracks.
So you don't
Only
run-
left turns.
Now I seen a couple like videos of guys doing like almost like a road course, pretty
Oh, well,
tight road
that
course.
road course would be
Which one's
US
that?
Air. That's run by Club FR.
Okay.
That's up in Shawano.
Okay.
But they're a Chicago-based drift association.
Well, you guys you run a lot of tracks, though, don't you? Or
Yeah, we start off at Columbus 151 Speedway in Columbus, Wisconsin. For
R.I.P.
Yep, R.I.P. Thank you to the Moors for having us for how many years was that? You think it was 2009 to
5, 6?
It was a solid 5 or 6 years that we were there, and that was great. And sadly, they had to sell, and now it's not even a parking lot, just empty bulldozed space.
Oh, that sucks.
That does suck.
They bulldozed it already?
Yeah.
Thanks, MITC.
They changed their mind about building.
Let's throw some fucking off-road tires on there and keep going.
Well, that'll be trespassing.
Hey, it's only trespassing if you get caught.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, the neighbors there do suck.
Yeah, there's a neighbor right outside the driveway for it, so...
Right.
I'm
We
sure
also-
he'd be quick to say something.
We also have our beloved Tiff in the room.
Oh, we do?
Yeah.
She should just call in. We get Skype.
Don't have me set up another thing, please.
Okay. If she wants to.
No. That I meant another damn cord.
And she's
Damn
still
kids.
got that STI too, so.
I know.
Yeah.
Is she getting
STIs are
treatments?
hard to get rid of, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Sometimes you can just take some penicillin straight to your dick, and you
Yeah.
know.
Well, she just bought
sometimes
it,
you just pick
so
up a vape pen, you know.
Yeah.
she don't want to get rid of it anytime soon.
Yeah. It's for life. It's a gift that keeps on giving.
Does she like the burn?
Yeah, I think she does.
What, Tony?
Good point. So
Apparently, she's too ugly for Skype.
Well, she
Considering
may have to use the
her and
video
Cody are
function.
arguably the prettiest ones on our network, besides Hammer.
Fuck off.
Have you seen me?
Hammer, you're the one with nice eyebrows.
Have you seen Danny with my hair? Holy shit!
you'll have to put that up. We'll definitely have to put that up on the Bad Habits Facebook thing for that one.
The Mark wig?
Yeah,
Okay.
that was pretty good.
It's pretty sexy.
So, how many drifters you guys usually have at your events?
Generally, I think we'll average like about 40 cars?
30, 40, 50.
30, 40, 50 cars, somewhere in there. It really depends on the day and what events are going on around, well, the United States. But, yeah, otherwise we'll average maybe like 90 people in the pits in general. So,
Especially if it's opening events.
yeah, our openings, the beginning of the season always has the most beginners and the most cars in general because they either haven't broken their stuff yet or they had a little taste of a circle track, and a lot of people are intimidated by walls. But our price point, we do have the most affordable events out of any other club in the Midwest, I believe. So.
And you mentioned season, so are you pointing system based or are you just
we're just
freestyle?
all out there for fun. We don't have we did run one competition event that was our Fight Club event, and that went pretty cool.
We don't talk about Fight Club.
We don't.
Too late now.
It's too late for that.
Our 3 or 4 people that are listening.
That
just
went
heard
over-
it.
You've broke the first 2 rules of Slide Club. Now get on with it.
Yeah, that was a pretty cool event, but that just takes a lot of work and effort. And
Is that something that you guys want to continue doing? Is something like that, or
we'll revisit that at a later time.
We got a lot of positive feedback on
Yeah.
it. It's it was an endurance-based event.
Mhm.
Endurance and points tandem event. It was actually pretty gnarly.
Yeah, I know Danny showed me a couple videos from stuff like that, and the one I like, I don't know if it was from that or not, but the Thug Life one you did,
That was at Columbus.
That was at Columbus.
that was pretty
Oh,
good.
that's when Alex Zier.
Alex destroyed Sam.
Yeah, that was really fun. I was in that too, because I was in. Okay, you gotta always follow the lead car when you're tandeming, and if you're just on any track like what we run is at Columbus was free run. We didn't have a course, so you just kind of, I went onto the infield and they kept going past the infield around. So I cut through the infield and was just going to do like a figure 8 through there, basically like figure 8ing the track. But then I saw Sam come around the corner. I was like, I'll just park it and stop here, like nice and gently. But then he saw him, he panicked, and he panic stopped. And Alex just is like, fuck that shit. boom, and took out like the whole quarter of a. So there's some Cresta on
Stayed
Cresta
in
love.
drift the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
That's pretty neat.
Went right through the quarter and a taillight and just kept down the line.
Oh,
Pretty
sweet.
gnarly.
So always follow the lead car, boys and girls.
Follow through.
Unless they stop.
No.
Well, I guess if they do stop, you want to stop at that point.
Well, they stop following. Period. They're like, we're in America. I make my own choices.
You can't tell me what to do.
Choice was wrong, Bob.
Can't tell me what to do, Dad.
Yeah.
Choice was wrong, baby. It's the price is right, bitch.
Yeah.
So do you guys have see dedicated drift cars, or do you guys find more people just bringing whatever?
For the most part, I would say roughly 90% of the car. Well, what do you mean by dedicated? Like that's the
Dedicated,
only
like
form
cage.
of motorsport they choose to?
No,
or are you
like-
talking about full-on cage drift
I'm talking
cars?
about like caged drift cars.
Okay, then that would be less than 10%. I would say that comes to our events. Like even in drifting in general, you don't see a whole lot of a dedicated drift cars.
Well,
So-
by dedicated drift car could mean they only use that car.
Well, yeah,
for
that's
drifting.
a pretty broad thing, but you're
Yeah,
talking about
yeah.
just like pro-am car builds.
I'm talking like just a guy that's like sole purpose.
Like
is
he
to
trains
drift
it
that
to the
car.
event and everything like that. Okay, yeah.
If you're smart, you'll have one car to use just to drift
Yeah.
daily. That you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, but yeah, it's maybe 10% then we'll say. There's a lot of pro-am guys, especially since Midwest Drift Union isn't around anymore. A lot of those pro-am cars are going to start coming to.
That's gonna make
if
you
they
guys
still
bigger.
have them, if they decided not to quit pursuing the pro-ams, they're just going to still have their cars. That's a lot of money wrapped up in something. You still want to have
Right.
fun, so
Right.
maybe.
So
they're
that
just
could
gonna go
possibly like definitely boost you guys with
No,
them
absolutely.
cutting out.
Like we have a lot of pro-am guys come to our events and whatnot, or some people get started drifting and then they move on to pro-am from where we're at. But
Sweet.
yeah, there's a few guys.
We do have a professional drifter that comes.
Hey guys, we do have a question from the barnyard though. It's our Tiff, obviously. She was wondering, why y'all hating on Subarus? Is it just the all-wheel drive?
I was a mechanic for 4 years at a Subaru dealership. That's all I'm
So
gonna
it's
say.
personal.
That's all I'm going to say about that
It's personal. Got it.
experience.
So now, do all you
I've
guys
also owned 2 of them, so there's that.
so
Too much stage 2, bro.
Pretty much.
so does everybody all you guys drift or just like one or two of you or
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, two of us, I guess, right now. Yeah.
Air high five.
Pretty much.
That's my birthday twin, Caleb, that said that. I bet him because I was selling him a manual rack for a Corolla.
Birthday twin and car.
And then we started talking about Corollas, and then we started talking about personal stuff like our birthdays and what color we liked, and if if anal's cool or not.
Our favorite foods.
And your
our favorite
sign.
foods.
Do you guys
Ain't-
see a lot of like old muscle out there at times?
We do have,
Camino come once.
yeah, we have an El Camino, we had a TA come, and we have a regular that actually drifts the Fox body.
I was gonna say because I'm looking at a '79 like '70s TA, and I mean like before I get all the body done now, shit, I wouldn't mind sliding it around.
No, absolutely.
before or
First-
after you
first
buy
thing
brand
you
new
should
Pontiac
do-
parts?
First thing you should do, get rid of the rack on that thing and go with an actual rack.
Right. Yeah.
First thing to do.
No recirculating ball. That's why I hate
Oh, yeah.
stereons.
Yeah, I wanna do like a full suspension build and
Oh,
just like
absolutely.
get it dialed up real nice, and then body work will probably come down last. But trying to find one that doesn't need as much body work. I had my eye on one, but it was just
Go down south.
Yeah. Well, yeah, right.
Yeah,
But
true.
the one I found up here, it was like reasonably priced. There was a hole in the rocker though, but he had replacement parts. I was like, okay, kind of clean, but like you said, I'd probably better off going down south.
Pretty much. If there's like a dirty car and you want to get into drifting, you might as well just drift the dirty car and beat the fuck out of it.
Right.
True.
Because chances are you're probably going to wreck it at some point.
Yeah.
Right.
Somebody.
A lot of people panic stop and they understeer right into the wall. That's why one of the first things I tell people is
Don't Earnhardt.
don't lock up your brakes. Push the clutch in and lessen your steering a little bit. You'll be fine.
Car will find itself straight.
Unless you own a Corolla. Corollas don't really hit the walls all that much. They
Okay.
just,
So Dave, buy a
works out.
Tell that to my front end.
It's because you suck, Caleb.
So what's the most
It's because there
popular?
was no room for you to do to spin out and do a burnout.
What's the most popular car you guys have?
Most
that
popular
you
when we first started out was all S13s. That was like the majority of what came, but we're starting to see a lot more BMWs nowadays.
Nothing but 3
Well, 'cause
Series.
S13s are a
Yep. Like it used to be like because when we first started the club, we had a lot of Corollas because a lot of people that started the club were Corolla guys, and then it was actually half and half Corollas and S13s, and then just a bunch more S13s came around, and some more BMWs started coming around, and then a lot of people throughout the years, I've noticed, crashed the shit out of their S13s. So you just kind of drifting goes to whatever chassis is the most available, and I guess that's true for the whole car world. And more people like BMWs now because you can still get them for like $1,500. Nowadays, like a rotted out S13 is $2,500 on the cheap end, and that's like needs frame rails and everything.
So for the most part, it's a lot of imports.
It's whatever's affordable because more likely than not you're going to crash it. So
yeah. Yeah, because it seems like when you watch a lot of it, it's a lot of like imports mainly. You don't see a lot of domestic cars. Once in a while, I mean, I know like Danny's been showing me videos of the one guy that I want his car. He's got an old Fox body.
Which
with
one?
the Coyote.
Oh, yep, that'd be Matt Salpa. I miss you, buddy. Moved to Arizona on us.
Speaking of imports, our beloved Tiff says, yeah, she's worked on Subarus for years. She owns 2 of them. She knows your pain. She knows it well.
I wasn't talking about the customers. I was talking about the cars.
So is she.
Yeah, she's
wait, no, I flipped that. Flip that. I'm talking about the customers, not the cars.
No. When her customers give a shit, she just calls me. Actually, no, she calls her boyfriend. You don't fuck with a guy who can do things to you from another zip code.
Ex-military.
He scares me a little.
Do you have any more sponsors?
As
of now?
No, we've been through them all yesterday.
Oh, okay, cool. So we don't really have to worry about that.
Phrasing.
Yeah. But as far as like what I'm probably going to start seeing more and more of too is Fox body Mustangs. There's the biggest issue with Fox body Mustangs was the steering angle. You had to always custom make your own lower control arms and everything, but now there's a company that kind of puts out 60 plus degrees of angle. It's just a bolt-on kit. So
I figure
it's a great power plant.
If that's something I got into, that's definitely the car I'd choose. But
Absolutely.
I'm a huge Ford guy, so
It's kind of like the easy button on things, So
Mustang body LS swap, you're all
No.
good to go.
No.
like that's how you make it fast.
Fuck you and your
and
LS
reliable,
swaps.
but
Hey, LS swaps dominate drifting from what I hear.
because they're a cheap engine.
Where?
Exactly. Like he was saying, cheap chassis, cheap engine, you win.
What do you mean by dominating?
You don't need that much power.
Well, right, but I hear a
Well,
lot
if you
of...
want to talk about like Formula Drift and all that stuff, then we can get into LS everything, LS the
Right.
world.
That's different.
LS swaps is a sore subject.
That's sideways drag racing
Ooh,
anyways. So.
can someone go upstairs? My buddy Hummer is here now outside. Sorry for being late. The big beardly man.
I can go grab
All right.
it. Or... Thank you.
Thank you, the Jake.
The Jake.
Yeah, we don't talk about professional drifting in the U.S. very much. It's an off-touch subject.
Do you guys watch a lot of professional drifting, or...
I used to way back in the day. Like I thought Formula Drift was super cool and whatnot, but you just slowly see what it turned into, and I'll tune in sometimes here and there. Like Jeff Jones is a cool guy. He's sponsored by a local company called Doc, which is not to think.
Bleep that out. Bleep that out.
No,
But,
is that the direction you guys want to go in, or do you guys want to stay
once
strictly
upon
like?
a time, I thought it'd be really cool to like get a Formula D license and everything like that. This is like back in 2009, but just kind of jumping to reality, like that's a lot of money you got to invest into that.
Well, you just need if you get the right sponsors that want to jump in.
Well, getting sponsors is a little bit more difficult than you think it to be. It's not like it was in the beginning. Back in the day, you can start off with like an SR20. Like we're talking about early 2000s. You can have like an SR20, S13 with like 300 horsepower.
Brian Peter.
Yeah, and then you can actually perform in pro events and whatnot. But it's just not the case anymore.
Yeah.
We're on average a pro car. It's like 750 at the absolute lowest. You don't see a whole lot of that. Any less power than that.
It's shocking current angle.
Yeah.
Dry sump systems.
It's out of the reach of pretty much everybody to build a car like that.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I guess a lot of it's though. You guys are kind of down in like the roots of everything, which is really cool. Which makes it a lot more fun because you see a lot more varieties. You're not seeing somebody out there where their car's like got some factory's name all over it, and you guys have a little more heart, I guess, involved in it because if you break something, you're the one going out and fixing it. Not you break something, the shop will take care of it, and you don't have to worry about it. Where you got like 3 or 4 cars sitting on standby.
It's more obtainable. What you're saying is, it's more within reach of some like local people, which is kind of cool. Yeah.
What we do
support local businesses.
That too.
Which is good. Yeah. I'm definitely a fan of that.
What we do is absolutely grassroots drifting. It's I don't think it gets more grassroots than what we do. Just anyone from any income level, skill level, or no matter who you are, man, just come on out, party down with us. That's
definitely
Party down.
And Tiff, our other female, our co-host that wasn't able to make it with us today, I know she's got a GTO that she's working on, and she was just bringing up how she knows a lot of people that drift the GTOs and win, which...
On what, a dirt track?
Where?
And then, sorry, we have one more person joining us. I believe your name, Hummer?
Yes, last name.
Ah.
Generally Captain Asshole more.
So we have a Hummer and a hammer.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hi. We can hammer the Hummer later. It'd be great.
Assholes in one room. This is great.
It's like the worst superhero duo ever.
I don't know. Batman versus Superman was pretty bad.
This is also true.
Affleck, you the bomb and Phantoms, yo.
That's an old reference.
I guess. Fat? If you ask me if I was fat, the answer is yes. Thirsty? Kind of. I don't drink and drive. CDL.
Yep.
That's all we got.
This compartment is being flooded by a clear non-alcoholic liquid. You mean water? Yeah, that's it.
Well, back to the GTO. There was a pretty famous GTO back in MDU a couple years back. I think we retired the car somewhat recently. Guy out of Michigan. Remember Mark?
I can't remember. I know who you're talking about. I just can't remember names or specifics.
But that was a newer gen GTO.
Yeah, that's what she's actually building a... I think it's a... I can't remember what year it was, if it's an 04 or 06.
They only made them for like 3 years.
Well, yeah, 04 to 06. So at least I'm pretty close to it. Yes. But she's rebuilding one which it's called Frankengoat, which I know a lot.
Oh, nice.
It's getting around the internet pretty well, and I know I was talking to Danny a couple days ago, and he thought he may have heard of it or not.
Unless they roll through my shop, I don't know most of them.
Yeah, she's been going through and rebuilding the thing from the ground up, and I think that's something that she wants to toy with.
Yeah.
As far as doing that.
She wants to win. She should hit me up.
Cocky much?
Fact.
This is true.
It's fact.
So, 2006, Dave.
What do you guys think about Ryan?
Okay, so it's an 06.
BRZ or FRS?
His
Sure.
FRS with a Lamborghini or Ferrari engine. Yep.
Sure.
It's cool.
I think it's freaking glorious. It sounds so nice.
It's like a...
It's Italian powered. Of course it sounds nice.
Yeah, right?
It's a functional SEMA car, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a lot of what he was going for.
I think the motor costs like just as much as the car, if not double it.
It's way more than a car.
Yeah.
Way more.
I think...
It's like 40,000 or something.
Honestly, what he did there was he built a Honda Ruckus because you took a perfectly reliable Japanese product and took a completely unreliable driveline and put it in there so it looks cool.
Right?
Well, I don't know. It sounded pretty cool at Grid Life.
Well, yeah.
He's got that going for him.
Sound is a good thing.
When your budget's the sky, why not? I mean, it's unobtainable.
It's just kind of like with the Unicorn. When your budget's the sky.
It's a cool car.
The Unicorn needs to come out with a shirt that just has a picture of the old one and then the new one and just says, now with boost.
Right? Yeah, that's definitely one of my favorite Mustangs. It's just,
Isn't that like your only favorite Mustang?
it's my only favorite Mustang.
I'm waiting
it's
for the turn
not.
right joke that you constantly drag up out of the ground.
But it's not a Mustang.
There's not much Mustang left.
Yeah.
No, there's not.
Cola
What,
flavored
the doors?
Japan is awesome. I just wanted to share that. They have the best flavored everything ever.
I'll just agree with him.
Is this orange?
I don't know. Try it. I don't read Japanese. I probably should learn, considering I ate a lot of their food.
Mark only reads...
Yeah, just stick it in your mouth.
I just read food.
Did you catch the Hummer shirt?
No, I didn't. I just wanted to read the Japanese.
His shirt says motorcycles are like babies. It sucks when you drop one.
He just looked at you with a look of death. Yeah, I'll try one.
There's like 3 different flavors in there.
Is that shrimp flavored candy?
I have shrimp flavored candy in the car, but I don't like seafood. So
Bring it up.
Flavored candy.
Give me that shrimp stuff.
I got wasabi Doritos at the house because why not?
Those are actually really good. Cracked open a bag.
Pass
a
them
while
that
ago.
way.
Pass them.
Passing them down.
Not bad.
It's interesting, isn't it?
It is a little interesting.
Are they persimmon?
What you driving, Hummer?
85 Cressida right now. And I have a shit pile TDI I'm putting back together.
Okay.
There's nothing better than driving a rancid shit box of an automobile.
Right.
It offends everyone that looks at it. It generally smokes and leaks more than one fluid. It's just great, especially living in Madison.
Right.
I miss my old TDI because it smoked like a Chip Cummins. And I love driving it in downtown Madison. You go down Willie Street and just lay clouds of death, and they're like, "I hate you."
I know.
Rolling coal.
Dude, you come down here with a car like that, and all the hillbillies are like, "Bro."
Yeah, I go up there. I've had to go up there because my mom lives up in Middleton, and I'll take my truck up there, which is an 80 or 93 Chevy Silverado.
Yeah,
old beater.
The trucks, though.
You go right down the road, and people are just looking at you like, "Why are you driving that?" It's like, yeah.
My best experience with my TDI was picking up my ex-girlfriend in Berkeley, California, and we got stuck in traffic, and they had some big environmentally protest parade thing, and they were blocking every red light. They're running through it, and finally, I'm like, you know what? I've had enough. Sidestep the clutch at 3,500, lay tire, hit second gear, still laying tire, hit third, still laying tire. Look behind me, and I have left the entire intersection filled with just the black and gray death. And there's people chasing me as I get onto the highway, and I'm like,
Yes.
I win at car.
I think you should bro truck that just for the hell of it. You know, put some wider, like.
I'm actually
meaty
going to lift
tires on
it. I just got a Jetta TDI with a front hit, and I'm putting it back together with another car.
Mm-hmm.
That's getting a lift and knobbies because fuck it.
Oh, sweet.
Awesome.
I might put a hater. I'm debating putting a hater pipe out on it. The problem is it's a diesel, so wherever the hater pipe goes, it's going to cover everything in soot. So that kind of stops me from putting it out the hood because I'll have to stop and clean my window every 3.5 miles, which would suck. But I think maybe right out of the fender, and I'll paint it flat tan, so it'll just have a big stinky stripe all the way aside.
So you're gonna make it like a rally car or something, or
Kind of. I thought about painting it like an Africa Corps car, but probably not the best thing to do this day and age with all the racism and whatnot going on. The shop,
great again.
well, the shop I used to
Yeah,
work for,
thanks for that one.
he got sued by Volkswagen because he used TDI in his name. So they needed to change it, and at one point we had almost decided to call the shop DDR, Deutsche Diesel Repair. But if you know anything about East and West Germany, that's kind of a sore spot to use those 3 letters in a row. Which I thought, hey, screw it. We took apart his. He bought his wife an Alfa Romeo Spider, an old one, and we pulled it apart just because it wasn't running right. And I found the fuel filter, and I'm like, huh, made in West Germany. This is original. And that's the problem with Italians is that car has so many world source parts on it, and it's horribly unreliable. And you go, why would you buy this thing? And then you drive this car that has a weight limit that I am actually over by just sitting in the car, and you understand that a bunch of shitty things put in a small space can work really good. That car has the better side of 90 horsepower, and it's just a riot. I mean, you can come into a corner at flank speed with a 195 tire and lose the front end, and then let off the throttle, the back end steps out, and now you're dancing around a corner with a car with 90 horsepower, and you're like, this thing's a riot.
Yes.
You try that at E30, and it's going to stab you in the face because it's German. It's very serious about what it does.
Yeah. So you guys like Hummer?
yeah.
I mean, what's not to
I'm
like
gonna
about
invite
me?
him on shots from the balcony one day.
There we go.
What's not to like about me? I'm fat, I like cars, I like nailing Japanese women, and I play the douche flute, like related. Air pound.
So yeah.
Yeah, I'm noticing there's many a vape supply here, and
Feel free.
Yeah, knock yourself out.
I have to vape my own. I sell this stuff.
Oh, you make your own?
I sell it. 608 Stash.
Oh, I know Chris. Love him.
I've been friends with Chris for a minute and a half.
He was when we had late night vaping with Aiden on this show on this network. Chris was actually on the show quite a few times.
Oh yeah, did you know he bought Mad Vapor now?
Yes.
Because Aiden walked away.
Yes.
Like I get a text message from today. He's
Thank
like,
you for using that phrase.
Yeah.
Aiden walked away.
Yeah. He opens the thing and goes, so, I own a vape shop. I'm like, what? Like, he's like, I bought Mad Vapor. Well, good for you, bro. Yeah, he, I
There's
remember.
a lot of backstory there.
Oh, yeah. He has one of the best quotes ever, though. I was going through notes because I was starting a distribution company. I hope people don't mind a slight little racist word to offend. But I was going through notes that I'd gotten from Chris, and I asked Chris, what are your goals with selling this stuff? And going through the sold notebook, all I found was quotes by Chris, and then in quotations, quote, I want to be rich, nigga.
You get away with it. It was G-A-H. You're
Yes, it was, yeah. But it was just, like, I look back at it, I'm like, man, Chris is such a good dude at what he does. Like, he's always just not giving a shit. And that's what's been great about him. Like, the kid owned an STI in Portland, Oregon, and people, oh, you know, it's modified. I don't care. He's got a BRZ now, doesn't care about it. Like, bro, you should do some stuff to make this car more fun. I have enough fun. We're good. I'm not used to talking without headphones, by the way. That's why I'm...
You can put them on. Here.
Oh, yeah, do you have monitors? I'm sorry. Yeah. Mr. Professional.
Yeah, we don't have anybody calling in, so we just like.
And we're not using the board, which is probably a good thing.
I just sent Chris a message.
Yeah.
Here, give him.
Your fat friend is down here being fat.
Give him my headphones.
Dude, just
Take these? Cool. Should have brought my own. Oh, man.
Yeah, I just sent Chris a message saying that you're singing his praises.
That's good. He'll enjoy that. Oh, that is one ear now.
Moving back on to
Actual cars and things. Yeah.
So anyway,
Yay, awkward
that's
silence.
fine. No, that's cool. Yeah.
that's usually our show. We don't have one topic. We have many topics. We never really hit on one topic.
Just like someone with ADHD.
You have hot topics?
No, not yet.
I'll stab you.
So how'd you guys start out?
Oh man. Okay. Yeah, that's a good. Oh shit, this is gonna suck. Okay. So
Bubble tire.
I
That's
guess-
all I remember.
like around back in 2009, it was just me and a bunch of friends. That's the bathroom donger. Dinger donger.
Donger.
Yep.
Go to the bathroom to play with your dog.
But anyways, I was Corolla-less at the time in college and whatnot, and a few of my friends that we did a lot of snow drifting together and whatnot. They're like, "Hey, we've been talking to a track and stuff, and we're talking about have our own events, keep it on the streets, and just have a whole day where we can just drift and not have to deal with any cops or anything like that."
So legalize drifting,
just
pretty much.
Legal drifting, So we started off just doing some drifting at Columbus. I ended up getting another Corolla, which I have now to this day. Before it was all SR5s. In the snow, those are really awesome cars. But
I believe
not
any
so
car
much
with-
in the dry.
Any car with rear-wheel drive in the snow is an awesome car.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So then we just started hosting our own events, I think. They were $15 each starting off per person. Those were good times. I think on average we had maybe like 15 to 20 people for that first few months. Or first few events, I guess. And then we started picking up like more and more people along the way because people hear like, dude, $15 drift events? Like, absolutely. It's perfect. Then just over time we grew bigger and bigger. We had some Pro-Am dudes from MDU come up because they had to dial their cars in for the season, and they're like,
Mhm.
yeah, it's track time for this all day. Let's do it. And then we just kind of picked up from there, changed hands with who runs it for a while. Like, before I was just one of the original guys that, helped run things, but that was about it. I guess I promoted stuff for the most part and brought people in. I just didn't handle all the shaking hands with the track owners and whatnot.
Yeah.
But I posted up the events, and then eventually people moved away. Our buddy Alex Schultze, he was in the military, and he got stationed up in Alaska, and he's still up there. And Drew Brom, he took over, or unless he was his president from the beginning. I think that's how it was. But then eventually he decided to adult, I guess, and he crashed his car a few times. And
Adulting sucks.
yeah, adulting happens. So then I ended up taking it over, and we've been doing pretty good ever since.
You sound like regretful in that. I guess I can do it if nobody else
Well,
is.
no, I mean, I just wanted to drift, man. I mean, it kind of takes a little bit to for everything, but I'm pretty glad with where we're at right now. I think we have probably the greatest staff on earth because we're all besties.
It's true.
So do you want to get bigger, or do you want to stay kind of where you're at?
I think where we're at right now is really awesome. Like, we see, like I said, people just starting out. And the way I see where we're at right now is there's some events that go on in basically a parking lot. And that's like absolute beginner because, there's nothing at stake.
Yeah.
And people still manage to crash there, but
People are dumb.
Whatever. That's what it is. And we're like mid-level, I say, because we get like a lot of beginners.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of guys that just, are pretty good. And then there's, like, the really good guys that have been doing it for years. And then I'd say that Club FR up in Shawano would be, like, that's where you graduate to, I guess. Or they do have a lot of people that do start out drifting there. But it's just, open parking lot to a relatively planned course. And then you go to a full-on track. And that's, beyond that is Pro-Am or...
So when you guys do you guys set up the lineups then of who goes out with who?
We don't have really. We've tried a bunch of ways, and pretty much we decided that I guess it depends on the track you're at, but we basically just have a singles line and a tandem line, and however many people want to go out there is just put your finger out the window. No one's pissing right now. Calm yourself, son.
But I mean, if you guys do have like the tandem stuff, do you try to pin, say, two people of equal...
It's whoever wants to go. If you want to hop in, man, just ask them, and then you're good to go. It's drifting, man. It's really relaxed
that's
events
cool.
because it's not a competition. It's just we're just there to party down, have a good time.
Just don't NASCAR it from what I've been told.
I've drifted with a lot of people. It's really fun drifting with faster drivers and whatnot. And I'll hop in with a beginner guy who's like, okay, I want to get in there. I was like, cool, man, just hop in behind me. That's fine with me. Just try and keep up and go from there, and it's really fun, So
when someone new comes in, do you ride with them first? And
it really,
you can trust a guy or what?
If they want, I'll absolutely. If they're like a beginner drifter, they're not going to be tandeming period. They got to first kind of get to a point where they're not spinning out every transition or like initiating into a corner and spinning out. But if they've kind of gotten to a level where they're pretty proficient at what they're trying to do, then they're like, hey, can I, try tandem with you guys? It's like, sure, man, hop in front. Behind's usually the safer way because if they spin out, you know how to stop. But if I spin out, that happens sometimes to people.
The question is, are they going to notice?
Exactly.
Stop.
You don't know what they're going to do because they've never been in that situation before. Well, unless it's just themselves doing it. So it really depends. You just got to judge it, and it's all trust in the person that's with you, So hopefully they don't fuck up, and hopefully you don't fuck up, and we all just have a good time.
Right.
Any other comments from the guys?
I'd say our main clientele or the main people we have at our drift events usually flip between Club FR events and our events generally, and that's because we kind of alternate because we see all the schedules of the people in the Midwest, and we tune our schedules to that because we want it to be the most available for people that it can be. So scheduling events on the same day as like a Club FR event, or like even a Proving Grounds event or something like that is usually a no-no because we want everyone to jump in between everything so that we can get as many drift events per year as possible.
That way there's something every weekend rather than everything on one weekend.
Exactly.
When I schedule events, I'm actually a little selfish with it because I wait for all the events that I want to go to. I schedule around the events that I'd be like, I want to go to that, But yeah, exactly. Yep. So we just go around the clubs where I want to go.
And you guys do an event around for Automotion, which is a big one around this state.
Yeah, we are the biggest event, I believe, in the Dells at that time. Yeah,
well, we draw more people than they're opening for stock cars.
Yeah, like when we camp in their I guess campground now, Shangri-La. Dells Raceway Park, and we
which is a
camped
great
there.
track, by the way.
It is an absolutely great track. Infield's a little rough, Some people do complain. You just got to find the sweet spots, and you'll have a good
I
time.
ripped my battery out.
Phrasing.
Maybe.
So it's like a fat girl. You just got to find the sweet spot and deal with the bumps.
You just got to throw some flour on down there
Yeah,
and
you
find
just
the
gotta
wet
take a
spot.
bite of flour, you know.
I have noticed there's also lube in that in that infield there.
Not only when it rains, but they did fix a lot of the they fixed that for the most part.
So we know the best tires are used tire, but what kind of tires do you guys go for? Is there a specific compound?
It really depends on your car and the way your style of driving and budget as well. For the my dad owns a shop and I worked there for the longest time. I was able to get 13s because that was still a common tire size, and I just get whatever 13s the customers had. In the beginning, my budget for drifting was like way less than it is now, and it's still my budget right now still is not very much.
I've actually witnessed him drift with tires off the tire wall, painted white, dry rotted. It's been there for years. They'll hold there for 10 minutes.
I've definitely done that before. But yeah, you know,
throwing some rims on your beat up rims on your car and just drifting.
I've always had, you know, if you look at some pictures from the beginning, that car looked like shit, and I used,
still kind of does.
I used shit everything. I had shit everything, but it was cool and I had fun. But yeah,
that's the
if
main
you're just,
thing about it.
yeah,
I mean, having fun.
Absolutely. If you're just starting out, you know, by all means, yeah, get used tires. Just something to get the ass end to step out on you. And then you'll, you know, just get your dick wet a little bit so you know what you're doing. As your skill progresses, you want to get a little bit faster and then start using like a new tire, even just a regular passenger car tire, will give you more grip and last longer, depending on the tire you buy. And you just go from there. And eventually, if you build your car up to something that really, really needs grip, then you're going to be running sticky tires. But for the most part, what people do is they'll run like a sticky tire in the front and just kind of like a less sticky tire in the rear, something that's going to last a lot longer.
Isn't that usually kind of the opposite, though, what you're going for drifting with the sticky tires?
It depends on the car. Like, if you have a pro build, like we're talking 800 horse, those cars, you're either full throttle and you're sideways, or it's just gripping no matter what. Even with that much power, that's just how they're set up. Just, you know, running low tire pressure with extremely sticky tires and crazy rear alignment to get that specifically designed, you know, set so that you have the absolute most amount of grip you can have when you're going like 75 to 100 sideways. So 200 miles per hour. Yeah. So
the world's longest bank.
You doing Daytona or something?
Yeah.
I was about to say we're talking about my ex.
What, 200? That's it? This is Janesville, man. She ain't a lady unless she's pushing 280.
Oh!
It's wintertime.
And?
That's the best thing about a fat chick. You need somebody like that in the winter because they could start a diesel in the middle of February, and I need that kind of suction in February.
Thick thighs make the best earmuffs. Come on, we all know that.
This is true.
Thing about big girls, they keep you warm in the winter and shaded in the summer.
Yes.
Wow. Yeah, tire-wise, though, I've noticed, like, his car, he tends to run, like, the cheapest of Chinese tires, and I was like, what's this, bro? And he's like, well, they're stretched, so they don't flex, and they're good.
I run Ironmans.
You don't run Panteras?
Tony Stark, yo.
Yes. But I like a neutral setup. It's good enough grip for the front, and it just matches the rear. And
yeah, by the way, you hear everything in the studio.
Now, would you also,
Doges.
on the tire question, would you say that if one had a heavier car like my Cressida, or if you're coming there with a full-bodied American sedan,
my Grand Marquis?
Oh, dude, Panther bodies is where the fuck it's at. But, would you recommend going with maybe a brand new tire on the front? Because like when I ran my Roadmaster out there with those pizza cutters that it had on the front,
You
2
ran a
laps.
Roadmaster?
Yeah, and I actually attempted to drift it, and then I put it in the ditch backwards. It was great.
Let's talk about this Roadmaster for a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, it had
my ears perked up on this one.
It had the
code name
prerequisites.
Driftwood.
Yes.
Oh, did it have the wood paneling along the
fuck
side?
yeah.
Let's
It's not
oh,
a Roadmaster
yes.
without it.
Let's take a trip in the Wayback Machine to about 2010 or 2011 when Hummer had a
91 Roadmaster, not the cool one. It did not have the LT1. It had
that's stuff.
the 350 TBI with the red line of, well, American. So I think
So
at like
$3,000?
a screaming 3,000 RPM. I had a friend do a NASCAR style equal length dual exhaust on it. Both pipes came out the same side and they were the same length. So it just really interesting noise for a V8. It sounded like the back end of a classic car, but on the side of the car. And so it had this really interesting noise. My neighbors hated it because it had cherry bombs on it, and I'd start to go to work at 6 a.m. and
It was glorious.
It idled like a bag of dicks, so you had to crank it and then rev the snot out of it. It was great. But I paid $300 for that car, so needless to say, my level of care was just above zero. When you have a car that's slightly better than walking, you tend to not give a shit about it. So, I went out to this thing, and I'm like, let's see if we can do anything with this piece of shit. And it was raining that day, and it got referred to as a baby elephant playing in the rain because although it was sideways, it was still rocking back and forth like an 80s town car driving down Main Street. And I like right to that point where I'm like, I'm doing it, guys. I got this. I went in the ditch backwards so hard I actually bent the seat rail, and I don't know if that was high-quality GM build or just fat guy being slammed backwards into the seat, but I had to drive home with a G-lean, and then found out that not only did I bend the seat frame itself, but I'd managed to actually pull part of the floor up because at that point there was more rust than car in that location. But it's okay, the frame was good. That car lasted another 9 months. I beat the hell out of it on a daily. It wouldn't die because it was basically a truck underneath, and then one day it wouldn't start, and I put it on Craigslist for $500, and some junk guy called me, and he's like, I'll give you $600 for it. I'm like, you enjoy your Roadmaster. Because, I did that. I had a 2013 Golf diesel. I bought it after the emissions recalls because it was super cheap. The car should have been $22,500. I paid $18,000 for it, which was still overpriced because I bought it from CarMax. But I liked that car. It was a great car. And then I got the letter, you're eligible for the recall. I'm like, but I bought it after the recall. You guys didn't defraud shit. And then I said, well, I'll enter all this in. And originally it was like, well, we'll pay off your loan. And I'm like, I guess I could do that. I like this car. I don't really want to get rid of it. But then I got the actual offer letter from Volkswagen. I'm like, we'll pay you $18,900. Okay, that's my loan with interest. And with the fees, you're going to give me $5,500 for a car I've owned for a year and I take your Volkswagen. So I decided the best thing to do, because I didn't want that car to be destroyed, was let's put this car in the garage and not touch it. So I put it in the garage. I bought a Grand Marquis, actually. Drove that for a long time. It's kind of a ragged car. Had to go down to Dubuque to get, well, basically I was trying to put my dick in a heifer. So drive all the way down there. I get just on the better side of Verona, and I nail a raccoon so hard the car came off the ground in the Golf, because I figured I didn't want to drive the Marquis. So I pull over. I'm figuring shit. I knocked up the bumper a little bit, and then every light starts to come on as I'm pulling over. Tire pressure, washer, fluid, coolant. I'm like, shit. A raccoon destroyed the front of this car. Had it towed, parked it, called Volkswagen, like, so if it's damaged, is it still okay? And they're like, well, as long as it wasn't intentional. I'm like, yes, I intentionally sought out running a raccoon over. So I claimed my insurance, and I got an $1,800 check from them, and then I turned the car in and got my $5,700. I won. I have successfully won this game again.
Beat the system.
Which is rare for me, because usually when I sell a car, I get thousands less than I paid for it. And that includes, I bought a car once for $1,000, and after I got rid of it, I calculated that car had cost me $3,000 to own. And that was a mistake, because I used to go through 80s Japanese supercars like they were going out of style. I bought an RX-7 Turbo 2 once for $1,200. I had it for 2 days. I know it needed a motor because it smoked like crazy. And I pulled into the gas station near my house, and some guy's like, I used to have one of those. That's pretty nice. Is it for sale? And I'm like, well, no, but it still had the for sale sign in it. He's like, well, would you be interested in selling it? I'm like, yeah, $2,000. And he's like, okay.
So
take your car, enjoy it. And I usually don't win like that, so getting all these pre-falls was great. That led me to move my fat ass to California for the second time and fail miserably, and here we are again. This time with fresh Japanese sheet metal from the 80s that apparently has every fluid leaking. Yeah, by the way, if you're into the Japanese car scene and you want to get something cool and you're like, I want something different, don't. Because something people don't realize about most 80s Japanese cars is, if it's an enthusiast vehicle, a Corolla, a Supra, RX-7, something fun that there's an enthusiast falling behind, you can get any part at a reasonable price.
Yeah.
When you go to the parts store and say, I need wheel bearings for my 85 Toyota Cressida, the first question he's going to say is, I don't have them. And then he's going to go, well, what size are they? Which means you have to take the front end of your car apart, leave it on jack stands, mic the spindle and the bearing, figure out which one you need, wait for them, and then find out they're wrong in the first place. I'm playing this game right now with wheel bearings and the midship bearing in that car, which apparently does not exist anywhere on the planet Earth. And it's fried, so my car is leaking every fluid that it can leak, including gasoline, but hey, unexplained fires are a matter for the courts. And I still managed to drive that ragged pile of shit down here because it's a Toyota, and even with a leaking head gasket, leaking brakes, leaking gear lube, engine oil, and I think the rear end's going too, but we'll give her some hope right now. It still made it down here, and it'll probably make it home, hopefully without a fire.
Are you familiar with Tyler Flacco on YouTube?
Somewhat.
He's the guy with the Camberghini, he calls it, the really cambered out Miata. And he also has a Cressida that he's doing a
Boso Zoku. See, here's my problem with, and I haven't heard of him, but my problem I have
hate that Miata.
with Boso Zoku is that people say, oh, it's Boso. No, it's Boso styled. The Boso Zoku really, it was basically like a wild group. The whole point of them and their cars and their motorcycles was that they were rebelling against Japanese mainstream society. And people come here and do that, and they do it for a style, and they don't understand the actual premises behind why those cars were the way they were. The reason they put those giant hoods and the shark nose and the big beaks, and if you see like the Decotora, those trucks with the crazy lights and shit all over them, they were mimicking U.S. society in the way that we did everything in excess. So they're like, well, I could put a 2-inch lip on my car, but a 12.5-inch lip is way cooler. So they paint, and they were looking at hot rods from the 60s and 70s, bright colored gassers, things up in the air, making a lot of noise, and that's what they did. And they didn't care about speed. And you have these guys with this interesting American-Japanese car style of the thing's cambered out, it's not functional, but they try to drive it hard anyways. And styles like that confuse me. I'm like, I want to do something to the body of my car. I've thought about, honestly, mimicking like an old IMSA GT race car with like some ridiculous 8-inch, like think groupie rally car, like 8-inch fenders on each side.
But it's a 4-door.
I know. I don't care if it's a 4-door though, because
Make
it's
your own
my
wide
car.
body.
And yeah, and that's what I've thought about. But I want to do it for functionality because, does a car with 160 rear wheel horsepower need a 12-inch rear tire? No, but it's going to look bitchin', and the thing will probably have enough grip. I could drive up a mountain sideways. So I don't mean drifting sideways. I mean actually just drive up the side of it. But the style of cars that I've found, especially between like here in California, is a really different thing. I've noticed that a lot of the styles here, by the time they trickle down to the Midwest, it's this, and I'm not knocking anybody's car here because to each your own, but there's this very much attempt to have a knockoff half-ass of what they're doing on the coast. And sometimes it actually pulls off a lot cooler than what they do out on the coast. But then you see some guys that try to mimic a style that came into Southern California because of there's a lot of Japanese culture there. So people come there, they bring their ideas with them, their thoughts. And then some nerdy white kids saw it, and they're like, I'm doing this to my Honda Civic. And they did it for a while, brought it over, and then somehow that trickles back here. People saw it on the internet. And this style turned into what it is, but like Midwestern car culture in itself, like my car more borderlines on what's referred to as itasha, which is like you take those gaudy anime stickers and put them all over your cars. Sticker bombing? Yeah, well, not sticker bombing per se. Like you would do a full wrap of a car cover, and that's eventual plans with my car. I'm going to put my non-existent waifu on the side of my car to show it off to the world. And in California, that's acceptable. But I have a few somewhat dirty stickers on my car, and I already get stared at in traffic like I'm a pedophile. So you kind of got to balance that in the Midwest because people can't deal with that style here. But sorry to go way off topic here because I'm really skilled with that. But back to what were we talking about? Tires?
Tires.
Actually, I gotta say hello to somebody that's in our chat room right now. Bob Nacho, great to have you in there.
Nacho.
Sir, if you could please give me back my cheese. I need my cheese. And his response would be, that's nacho cheese. Unless it's manly cheese, and then it would be macho cheese.
It's kind of like what Hammer likes his nacho sauce.
Dude, best juice ever.
I also have to throw this out there, and I'm totally not trying to be a prick when I say this, but you look like a thinner version of Matt Farah.
I've heard that
I've
heard that a
first day I
lot.
met him, I'm like, dude, you look a lot like Matt.
And what you need to do is go on a one take with him, because it will be the most confusing video on the internet ever.
I've contacted him. I can't really talk about his response yet, but we've talked.
Well, that's a plus.
So now getting to the tagging, I know you were talking about before the show on how you do your inspections, Scott, right?
Scott is our inspector, tech inspector.
I inspect.
That term is used loosely.
Isn't that usually any tech?
But I hear his stickers are pussies.
Yeah, what are your stickers again?
They're pussies.
Puss off!
I have
Are we
cat
talking about
stickers.
Lady Majoras or?
Johnny, settle down.
Of the feline persuasion.
He gets
sometimes puppies too.
He gets excited.
There's a mix generally right now, but when I take a car and our fellow sliders love the pussy stickers they give them, and it's always a big part of the drift events are choosing a cat sticker.
Yeah, because I know you were mentioning they're like a badge of honor or something like that, where people are actually keeping them like.
A lot of people keep them underneath the windshield banner sometimes, so they'll kind of keep them as a badge of honor.
The windshield banner.
Exactly, it's a pretty common thing to have a couple underneath the windshield banner. Just not remove them and just put the windshield banner right over it, just to keep it forever intact.
The outline's still there.
Yeah, you know what it is.
Mhm.
You know what it is. Get downside. We have some people that have upwards of like 10 stickers still in their windshield that they refuse to peel off.
Or they'll peel it off and then stick it on the roll cage.
That's true too. It's kind of like Club FR where they get the D-Day stickers, D-Day 63, D-Day whatever, and they just stack them up and stack them up. We do it with pussies.
Sweet.
For a brief
Might
time,
have
princess stickers, but that didn't go over well.
No, people didn't like the Beauty and the Beast stickers or
Cinderella.
Belle or all the. It was hard to name the princesses when you don't know. So it's kind of like, here, have this. Is this a princess? Okay, here, have this.
You gotta do your research on that one then.
No, that takes time.
Well, the quality wasn't there.
All you gotta do is watch Disney movies. You're good.
It takes some time and effort to do something like that. Something I don't have.
Mark just found the good stuff, apparently.
What the fuck is that?
You know what? Don't touch me, you filthy casual.
Never sucked on something so rough in his life.
That's our stuff.
By the way, if no one has ever heard this acronym before about a vape, Chris has actually owed credit for this, but he referred to this once as a penis. It's a personal electronic nicotine inhalation system.
I still like you calling it a douche fruit.
What do we call them before? They're like a robotic phallus.
And
Transformer cock.
how has no one actually made a vape yet that looks like a giant dick?
Because we've covered that.
About it. They've talked about getting a 3D printer and devising.
Make a dick foundation.
See, what you need to do now with 3D printing is you need to make a very nice, aggressive-looking phallus and put it in some of those free downloads. It's like, here's how to make your own table robot. And then someone's printing it out, and halfway through, they managed to 3D print this massive dong.
Yeah, see, we've got into the discussion about making actual penis, vapors.
Yeah.
And
we found out one exists.
Yep, but then we figured out that they're not waterproof.
Well, that's no fun.
How we can make them waterproof, we've cornered the market.
Speaking of penis-shaped things, you do know they make a crucifix dildo. It's called the Jackhammer Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of... What the fuck? It's pretty amazing when you look at it because it's exactly... They're both made out of rubber. That's how we made it from tires. Yes, you always have to have a connection.
You're still sliding and you're still burning rubber, so...
Am I the only one that's heard of that, too?
Yeah.
I agreed,
I'm assuming by looking at you that you, along with me, tend to hang out in the more filthy side of the internet, which, if you don't know, is the better side of the internet.
Hashtag wholesome ruined me.
Yeah, there's been a lot of jokes on how I found the end of Pornhub, so...
Chloroform.
Yeah, that too.
But actually, I was doing a ceramic coating on a truck a while ago, and I'm detailing the interior too. And all of a sudden, I see this black, kind of brown suction cup tucked behind the back seat. I'm like, that looks like sure as shit, you fold up the seat a little bit. I mean, I was wearing rubber gloves too. I pulled that shit out, and it was a fucking 12-inch black dog.
Oh, that's wonderful.
That was the most exciting day of his career.
I told the owner, I'm like, you got a little black dildo in there, right? He goes, what?
There's nothing little about that one.
And I'm all like, you got a black dong back there. He goes, no. I pulled it out from the back seat. He's like, holy shit, that's not mine.
No, of course it wasn't.
Coincidentally.
The worst thing I've ever seen involving dildos was I used to work at a fairly high-end European repair shop in Los Angeles, and we had, the best way to describe her would be a slightly overweight dominatrix. I'm not talking like big, but...
Michael just left.
So
She first thought was the event we went to.
She brings in her Porsche Boxster for service, and we go through all this thing, and the fluids for some of this car are under the front bonnet. So I pop the bonnet, open it up, and
dude,
as I open this, I get this super musky, angry smell coming at my face. I'm like, what is this? And as I open the trunk all the way, I notice there's a probably 18-inch long leather satchel, and it's unzipped. This is like, think money bag that the robbers had in the 50s. It's one of those. And the bag's open. It's like a gator mouth bag, so it's spread open. You can see the entire contents of it. And inside are an assortment of different size dildos, length, size, color. And one of them that I caught out of the corner of my eye, not trying to make eye contact with this bag of dongs, was something very evil that really bothered me. And that was a more flesh-colored dildo that had A, a red streak on it, and B, a brown streak on it. And I just closed the bonnet and decided that checking these fluids was not the most important thing I needed to do today. So she comes back in about an hour later, and she's like, are you done with my car yet? She's like, no. And she goes, I'm sorry, I left something in the front of my car. You didn't see it, did you? I'm like, what, the giant bag of dicks? And she's like, no, that's the bag of love. No, you went past love 6 inches ago.
We've got to have him on shots.
So the guy who trained me how to detail was telling me about one of his horror stories, and similar to you, he's detailing a car out, opens up. Now he got a dealership car. Dude, you should be on top of that, Dave.
Well, you're not.
Anyway,
unlike the story you're giving.
He got a car from the dealership, opened up the trunk, and like you were talking about, duffel bag like the robbers used, opened it up, and it's a bag full of dicks, and he calls up the dealership and goes, you guys are joking, right? Yeah, it was...
See, again, you like how our automotive podcast kind of goes in a lot of different directions, if you can't tell.
Yeah, that's the best way to do
I
it.
just sucked down the entire bottle of sake. FYI.
What? Dude, no, God damn it.
There's a lot in there.
I haven't had sake since I was in Japan.
What do you got there?
Bad.
What do you got there?
Pass this down.
No,
It's been sitting on this table
I just want to sip.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Just to make you feel better, this one's from California.
Still good. Still good.
The problem I have with sake here is that most restaurants, A, don't know how to serve it at a proper temperature. B, there are different sakes that need to be served at different temperatures. And the problem with that is that...
Yeah, this one's supposed to be warm, but Scott chilled it.
Well, there's actually a couple... There's actually a couple I've had that are supposed to be warmed, but they taste better chilled, at least by my palate. But I'm a fat white guy, so I don't really have a palate for sake. I have been to...
It's good at all temperatures. You just don't know how to read a label.
You just don't know how to read a label.
You just don't know how to read a label.
I was reading the back.
There's
Yeah, only the back.
I forget the restaurant I went to in LA that they actually have like a sake experience where they take you through 12 different flavors and they serve them all at 3 different temperatures so that you can see what the temperature does to the flavor of sake and how it will change it. But I don't like drinking sake by itself. With a good Japanese meal, it works better, but I prefer... My Japanese style food is I like to go to an izakaya. I will have a kirin and a bunch of yakitori and just eat the hell out of it. Food on sticks with beer is the best thing ever because A, you don't get it all over yourself. B, it comes very fast. And C, you can make poor choices.
And I thought I was a fucking weeb.
Well, I still...
Well, your car is still covered in anime stickers.
Talk into it.
I have some anime stickers
You gotta
on my
pretend
car.
that thing's a dick and get right up on it. There you go.
Well, I know a guy in California, his 72 Celica has Oh my God! Now I'm drawing a complete brain fart on it. But I forget the character on his hood. But she's got a titty hanging out, and it says "Let's do anal" on it. And he drives us every day.
Socially acceptable out there, though.
Well, it is. There's actually a meet I would go to every other week. That is, it's at Rainbow Donuts and Cerritos. It's every other weekend, and it.
Couldn't resist.
Oh, that's totally acceptable.
If you really want to step up your game, put hentai on the side of your car.
I'm actually contemplating it. There's a character I kind of have in mind. You're also talking to a man who has anime tattoos on his legs, so I've pushed it a little for. Well,
that's with this guy too. He's got a bunch of stuff on him.
Phrasing.
One.
Yes.
No phrasing needed.
You want phrasing? Phrasing was 3 weeks ago, and someone told me that we should go out to eat Japanese, and my response was, if I wanted to eat Japanese, I would call my girlfriend. So, which, by the way, we broke up on my birthday because I am the coolest guy on the planet. You want to have heartbreak? Get on a plane, fly all the way across the country with the hopes of bringing back your future wife to your state that is horrible and you hate more than life itself most of the time, and then have her break up with you on your birthday in a Motel 6, which, by the way, I hit the hillbilly trifecta. In less than 24 hours, I got into an argument at a Motel 6, a Denny's, and a Walmart. IHOP was actually hard
weren't
to
you supposed
track
to get
down.
re-engaged at the Walmart?
Oh, if you get engaged at a Walmart, you're either A, a really cool person who doesn't give a fuck about anything, or you just grew up around a wall. I don't have a word for that. I kind of that went off the deep end real quick.
What about a wedding reception at a Ponderosa?
See, that's the thing, though. The Sizzler of the Ponderosa, you could do a wedding reception at, because there's people, my father included, who think a restaurant like that is a nice place to be. My dad says we're going out to eat and we're going out nice. We go to Applebee's. Applebee's is a great place when you're that's a great restaurant. My dad had a heart attack because we took him out to a burger joint, and he was a physical heart attack, was shocked at the fact that someone would pay $12 for a hamburger. I'm like, this is the best place I've ever eaten at for a burger. He's like, well, that's like, I could buy 4 burgers. I'm like, yeah, but they're not going to be as good as this one.
But it's 4.
Wow, turn that down just a touch. I can hear myself in my ear, and it hurts my face. But it's interesting.
Sorry, we're having issues.
No problem. It's probably me overmodulating every microphone in the room, because apparently my voice carries, or so I've been told by the Madison Police Department.
Hey, big man, big voice.
I don't know about big man, big voice. A giant asshole, pretty good voice that likes to shit on everything, but... Sir, if you could talk louder into the microphone, please. Slightly louder.
You want me to yell?
Yes, there we go. See, you know what this is honestly reminding me of is I've worked AV tech at a lot of really small anime cons, and the tech setup is like this. You have a room full of guys that are just enjoying themselves. They don't care what they're talking about, but everybody's having a good time, and somewhere through the panel it will come to a screeching halt because the feedback will go completely batshit because someone decided, well, I'm going to turn input up as high as it goes, or, unplug something inadvertently, and things like that are fun. I miss working small cons. I transitioned from small anime cons to working at Anime Expo, and when you work in guest relations there, yes. Oh. Yeah, that's actually an appropriate way to discuss my leaving AX, because it was clusterfuck and a half would be a good term for that, but I missed that.
Great. Now you're making me put the headphones on.
Anyway.
Right?
Dick.
Anyway.
Now everybody's looking to get their headphones.
Caleb, how did you get into drifting?
Yes.
How did you get into drifting, Caleb?
Like a dick, like a dick, like
There's
a
this
dick.
thing called the internet.
I don't know. I guess as every small child is supercars everywhere. Then once you realize supercars are kind of out of your grasp, 8, and you realize that's way too expensive for me, even when I get older. Then you go on to street racing cars, all the body kits and Civics and all that shit. And then you realize, well, straight line driving is kind of fucking boring. So you look at drifting, and then I started watching Formula D in 04, 05.
Wow.
And then right away bought two S13s, which I thought were awesome.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Those went away. And I bought a sweet Corolla. but
Wow.
I was too focused on other terrible things for a few years.
Wow.
To do drifting.
Like raves?
Like raves and drugs.
And like being a professional hand glover?
Stop.
You were gloving people left and right.
Then magically, when I stopped all that, I had money to build cool shit. So now I have a beam swapped Corolla and a R32 sedan that I'm kind of building period correct.
Hell yeah. My question for you about...
that I bought from Janesville.
My question for you about the rave scene. Did you leave the rave scene when they were still raves, or were they festivals at that point? Because the drugs really tipped off after they went into festival mode.
I left the rave scene, and then every once in a while I'll go to a festival now.
Just slip into a K-hole.
I do like the festivals more because they're just, you can still have fun and not be drugged out of your mind. But I do miss the old rave days. You go down to the warehouses in Chicago and just forget where you were. It was fantastic. But anyway, sorry to go off
Did you
topic
wear
there.
Jenko jeans?
I wore Jenko jeans, and I actually had... I was more into the goth or industrial scene. I'd actually
How many
made...
gas masks did you have?
I never had a gas mask, but I did have boots that I made that had a 12-inch rise on them.
Jesus.
Made out of car tires.
Why
They
did
would-
Mike leave?
Oh, shit.
God, you're that fucking tall now and with a 12
Yeah,
inch
I
rise? Shit.
inadvertently almost knocked myself unconscious in a low-flying beam once in a club.
No, I got out of that about 7 years ago and decided focusing on cars was much sweeter.
It kind of is.
It totally
cars
is,
are-
Caleb.
Cars are a thing that can really...
I love you,
take
Caleb. You're my
out
best
of
friend forever.
If I
Anything.
ever get my Corolla back, it'll start the painting and...
If you need somebody to
early
fit,
D1
perfect
Street
the paint,
Legal
I'm
era
here.
build.
Oh, see that?
Perfection and paint don't go well
So if you
together
need
with
someone to
cars.
perfect the paint, I'm here. I know how. I do it for a living.
Can you use sand glitter? 'Cause that's what he has right
Metal
now.
flake,
no,
maybe.
No,
No.
this paint job will include no glitter.
No, it has glitter outside the clear coat.
I might sand it
No.
off then.
No, the glitter went on before clear coat.
Yeah, it's poking
It
through.
was a mid coat.
Now, Danny's got a pretty cool car, too, that he showed me.
Where?
It doesn't run. Whatever it is, it doesn't run.
Which one?
Yes.
Exactly, which one are you talking about?
Danny has many cool cars.
The ones in the garage were pretty badass. Well, no, I don't. Well,
Don't
wait.
say-
One of them
don't say
kind
the
of, I think,
Toyota.
if I remember right, I think one of them kind of ran. One of them has a lack of an engine.
Okay, so
That
yes.
covers all of them.
Yes, I have a 1988 Toyota Celica Alltrack.
ST-165 life, yo.
ST-165. Yes.
Wow.
And
Do you need parts? My brother has a garage full.
Wow.
I bought one spur of the moment with a blown engine because the previous owner actually couldn't tell if there was oil in it because there wasn't a dipstick.
It has really cool FRF wheels on it.
Wow.
Did you look at that?
So yes, I bought it, and then literally a week later in Milwaukee, a totaled one went up for sale.
Wow.
With a good motor.
Wow.
Have you done that swap yet?
I didn't. I took the motors out, but I was.
And Scott pulled everything apart.
No, he didn't.
You didn't?
Oh, well, yeah, no, he took everything apart.
Yeah.
Well, that's because the red one was hitting a front end collision, so the radiator was pressed over the turbo.
Yeah, but that's a radiator, not the top of the motor. Not the top of the motor.
Danny pulled everything neat and tidy, and Scott pulled everything apart into separate bins.
I'll just throw out that whoever decided to put the transfer case in that location,
Genius.
I hope that they're raped by a fire demon from the 9th level of hell.
It actually is pretty easy to do. You just have to take the motor and trans out of the car.
Yeah.
And to take them out, you have to drop it underneath the car. You can't pull it straight out.
Which in a normal shop is not so bad.
Well, see, that comes from the design engineer that went, let's shove a Corolla motor in the ass end of a car.
So I pulled two motors. Both of them I had to lift the front of the car up because I don't have a lift.
Because you're a normal person.
We had to, yes, and we had to drop the car using, I used a motorcycle jack to lower the engine with the subframe and everything, and it was the biggest pain in the ass ever.
Yeah.
And recently, Scott and I had to move shops, and I was pressed for very sad. We were pretty spoiled with where we were. But
Fuck yeah.
You did good burnouts there.
That's another story, yeah.
Caleb really likes burnouts.
Who doesn't like burnouts?
Burnout Sanders.
I know, right?
I like saving tires for the track.
So I was trying to sell everything I had.
Caleb's a rich
I
man
was scared
after he quit
I
raving and drugs.
scared of not finding the shop.
Yeah.
So I posted up on Facebook, and I actually found a 3-car garage. And in order to get my car there, well, basically, if I could get the Celica running, I was going to keep it. And I didn't have the time to put the new motor in and get it running and everything. So I had a good buddy of ours, Alex, here, throw it in there for me. Got it running, pulled it on the trailer, and now I'm actually able to drive it. But it's still lacking a few things.
Coolant?
Coolant is one of them.
Well, yeah.
I bought my Corolla from you years ago.
Yeah.
How'd that work out?
He also has a Cressida.
Had.
Cressida.
Multiple.
They are excellent. Have you watched the commercial for the Cressida?
I had a Cressida once.
The commercial for the Cressida says you want the best out of your car because you're the best.
I had a 92 in white.
Oh, see, your car wasn't cool. My car sings "Happy Fucking Birthday" to me because it was the '80s, yo. Legitimately, the clock, you enter your birthday in it, and when you hit your birthday, it plays in very terrible MIDI "Happy Birthday" because you're important and demand those sort of features out of your '80s Japanese classic.
We don't understand why.
Do you have that video on Facebook?
There is actually a video on. Well, see, unfortunately, I was in California being broke up with, so my car didn't sing "Happy Birthday" to me this year, which is disappointing.
Scott should have never sold that car.
Technically, it still in my name.
Well, yeah, because he has insurance.
Ooh, piece of candy.
But he should have sold it.
I'll buy it back.
You did all that work for it. I did all this work for it, too.
True.
Sometimes doing a bunch of work to a car doesn't make it better.
He also has a 240 with airbands on it that I own.
Who doesn't own a 240 with that?
I do not, because I do not own 240.
Ironically enough, like I used to be a pretty hardcore Nissan fanboy, and I really wanted the 240 until I sat in one and went, "This doesn't work. I can fit in an AW11 MR2, but for some reason I cannot fit in the Secretary's version of a 300ZX." So
I gotta say, you don't picture me as like a Nissan guy. You picture me of like somebody sitting there, they're rocking a Harley or rocking like a big ass lifted truck.
Well, you don't have enough beard to own a bagger yet, so to own a bagger in Janesville, you got some stuff going on here. It's enough.
My bags are all leather.
I don't know. Do you call that a
Your
bagger
assless
now?
chaps are too, as well, I assume.
Yep.
That's Johnny.
You know what I've never understood about chaps, the assless chap, if you will, is I don't know if you've ever gotten off a motorcycle at speed, but generally your body has this. I've done it numerous times, but your body has this automatic response of I'm going to try to set up while I'm sliding down the road. And the problem is with the assless chap is that there's no actual leather protection on your ass.
Is that because it's assless?
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, all chaps are assless. That's what makes them chaps. Otherwise, they're leather pants, and
which is
unless you were in a hairband in the '80s. See, the problem is they don't make leather pants in size Goodyear, so I've just stopped looking for them.
You didn't look hard enough.
No, because I mean, do you know how many cows they'd have to slaughter to make leather pants?
Jack
that fit
Black
my
can
gigantic
find.
ass?
If Jack Black can find leather pants, you can find some leather pants.
But Jack Black has something I don't, and that's a shitload of money for being an asshole, as opposed to me, which just has somewhat money for being an asshole.
Why don't you just go with the leather kilt and say the hell with it?
I would wear a kilt. There's nothing wrong with a kilt.
No,
Kilt on a motorcycle.
Utility-kilts are exactly where the fuck
Kilt
it's
on a
at.
motorcycle might actually be a crime against humanity.
With me, yeah.
I
Now,
know, right?
yeah, I can definitely agree with you there. That is a terrible thought.
Anyway, I actually got to drive a right-hand drive Fairlady Z. And
in a kilt?
But that was pretty fucking awesome. I mean, it was really, it was a serious mind fuck because you got to remap everything you're doing.
Yeah.
You got to drive on the white instead of the yellow, but the shift pattern's the same, so it's still 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Wow. Did you turn the wipers on when you were trying to make a turn?
Yep.
I did that by one of the shops I used to work for out in L.A. We had a lot of Japanese clientele, had a lot of stuff imported.
Wow.
So, I mean, I've driven Crowns.
Wow.
Mark IIs, Supras, all this stuff that people have imported, and it's all kind of fun. It's a little neat, but like I'd like to get an R32 GTR, but it's not necessarily because of what it is. It's just I grew up liking the way that car looked, and
Gojira.
Fucking Gran Turismo ruined it.
It was a total schoolboy fanboy thing that I bought my R32. I'm totally riding Toyota's dick.
Wow.
But so you've pulled a Rob Dom. You are on that Mazda fucking train, but you got to own a Skyline for some reason.
Well, the Corolla's the main bitch. That's the
Well,
main drift car.
see, that's the thing.
Skyline
Wow.
is just to keep nice and daily drive in the summer and shit.
Have you had any problems dailing it? Because I've actually considered getting one to drive every day.
He doesn't know how to put a battery in a car.
Well, that happens. It's,
I've actually considered buying one myself.
Minus the super stiff suspension.
well, yeah, I mean, it's...
Otherwise, it's fine.
What,
I actually prefer driving on the right side now after driving it for so long.
Yeah.
I've topped in my Rev now because it's gotten cold. I've gotten into the passenger seat of the car before realizing that it's the wrong side.
Wow.
Here would be the next
Wow.
I'm going to ask a question that nobody cares about when you import a car like that.
I don't care.
What kind of mileage do you actually get with that car?
It is actually the highest mileage car I have out of all my cars.
Which is
I get the best mileage out of that.
Point the mic to you.
Mid 20s.
You got to put it in your mouth.
Your
not
Corolla's
bad.
had gas in it
There
for
you
the
go.
past 2 years.
Mid 20s on the Skyline.
That's not bad. I mean, I'm assuming if you keep your foot out of it.
Yeah.
I had a 300GX turbo for a while. If you drove it normally, it was like you can get 30 miles to the gallon. But if you buried your foot in it, it
Wow.
was like flushing a toilet.
No,
That's
the
great.
best I got was like 23 on the Skyline.
That's not bad, though.
It's better than my
The
ass.
Corolla, I don't know because the gas gauge doesn't work after the swap, so it's kind of like hit or miss.
Now, since I've been
And
really
it's untuned. So
been really lazy with my research, a car like that, can you just get normal maintenance parts for it, like oil filter and shit like that, or do you have to? I assume
Yes.
that the filter that crosses over, but
interchanges with 300ZX.
okay, so a lot of the
Some
parts.
shit. So my oil filter is 300ZX. My thermostat is 300ZX.
Your brakes are all 300ZX.
I haven't changed my brakes yet.
Pads and rotors are 300ZX.
Caleb, how do you like it when you go to restaurants or gas stations and you just walk inside when you're driving your Skyline?
I avoid people at all costs. We got pretty good at that.
What if it happens to be the...
Ducking on people?
What happens if it's a Culver's and someone's famous' girlfriend happens to be walking out and not appreciate a sticker of yours?
I would appreciate it if she came back in trying to front that she was someone important, so that I could tell her to her face that she's not that cool.
Anybody in the Midwest who thinks
I have a
something's
feeling
important,
there's a story there.
you're not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
You
involves-
want the story?
Yes, go for
You
it.
know what? I'll allow it.
A
I'll
Wakak
allow
story.
it.
It's a Wakak story.
Yeah, please go.
All right. Me, Scott over here, and someone else was with us.
Most likely.
I don't know. But apparently we were at the same Culver's as Alex Martinez's girlfriend, fiance, fuck buddy, whatever she is.
Wife now, but yeah, go on.
She was there and walked outside and saw my car. Initially, as every WCEC, oh, it's a Skyline! And they get closer and they see the Calvin pissing on WCEC sticker, and they get immediately butthurt. She took a picture of it and said she was tempted to walk back in and say who she was or that or whatever.
Yeah.
And then, good, please walk back in.
Please.
Tell me who you are so I can tell you to your face
him off because he can't
that you ain't shit.
That I will R. Kelly the fuck out of you.
Yeah, that I really don't care who you are.
Trip.
So,
You do better.
So that was a thing.
who in this room knows David Gretzinger?
Wait, you know David Gretzinger?
know who he is.
He is he has permanent banned would be an understatement of what that man has done to WCEC, which
Oh
is
yeah,
just,
I got banned once, and it was a perma ban for calling someone a fanboy.
well, that's because that's all that group is fanboys. That group is pretty much the worst thing ever when it comes to car culture in this state.
That's why
I
I felt
got-
really good about putting a pissing on WCEC sticker on a Skyline.
I got
See,
banned
I-
because I run Slide Society, and a lot of our people that are in this, a lot of our members are
Well,
not
they
fans
ban
of.
people by looking on if they are a part of Slide Society.
Yes.
They just ban them.
Pretty much, yeah.
It's true.
And,
See, I
they
wanna
asked me
get-
if I wanted to get back in there. I was just like, nah.
No, I'd
I'm
prefer to not
good.
blow somebody to get
So-
back into the frat house.
Yeah, I like got threatened with the ban. I'm like, no, fuck you guys, I'm done. Because I called them on their shit. I'm like, you guys don't support small businesses. I'm like, if you guys are gonna rip down my business post, that's that I get maybe a rare job now and then through them, but I'm like, you guys don't support small businesses if you're gonna rip down small business posts. And he goes, oh well, that's being pretty blunt. I'm like, no, it ain't.
Yeah. I think Danny told me about that a couple weekends ago.
Yeah.
He got banned
Yeah.
from small business. Like,
And-
isn't that what you want?
Yeah, and I actually
in a group is you want to.
You would think so.
I put on two. I also put.
Cut him down.
I also put 2 posts up there. One of them was like a picture of my car say without.
Whoa!
God damn it, Danny.
One of them was a picture of my car saying I'm disappointed in WCC. Like, you know, I thought this was business friendly and all that shit. And then the second, I made a video of me scraping off the WCC sticker, and I simply said I don't support those who don't support me.
Wow.
So
Well, that was like Tiff, our female co-host, is not with us right now. She's actually banned from WCC also for calling
out one of the girls.
Yeah, calling out one of the girls, telling her basically she was a car whore or a lot lizard, basically jumping from
Hey,
person to person on there.
There's nothing wrong with a lot lizard. Sometimes you've been on the road for months, you need a blowjob.
Yeah, but
Rules of the road.
she called him out,
Wow.
and then she ended up getting threatened by Alex, and said you can't do that, and she's like, well, fuck this shit, and I don't know, it was a whole big thing back and forth. But needless to say, they're great friends.
Wow.
The problem I have with most car clubs, and this comes from actually being kicked out of my own club back in the day, is that a lot of these things, they take themselves too seriously. Like, if you want to go to a Cars and Coffee every weekend, you can do that. But you don't put a sticker on your car that says, I go to Cars and Coffee, look at me. But if you... But if you go to the fucking, you go to wherever the fuck these retards are hanging out at now, you just put a fucking Hy-Vee sticker on your car. Like, oh, I'm a fucking car enthusiast. But if you're not an enthusiast, if all you do is talk shit about other people's builds, and you can't actually build anything yourself, you're just an asshole. And the problem is that group of people, every time I've ever talked to one of them, they come off as these condescending fucks that's like, oh, well, you know, my car is this. And it's like, yeah, that's great. Your dad owns an investment bank in Chicago, and he left your family 20 years ago. But to make it feel better, he gave your mom $200,000. And she gave it to you because you don't have a daddy. So you managed to put $80,000 into your shit pile Civic, and it's still fucking slow.
and it's still a $5,000 car.
And it's still a $5,000 car, yeah. And I can't stand that type of person when it comes to cars. That would honestly... Like, I'm repping a motorcycle shirt at a car show today because I got so tired of going to car meets because everybody has just been, like, at least with these guys, it's great because they don't give a shit what you have. You bring it, you have fun at the event, you go home. And generally there's some shit talking, but it's more along the lines of, like, why the fuck did you paint your car purple with fucking... What was your car, Mark? Gray with purple broken hearts on it?
It's like
my car at one point in time was, okay...
It's pretty much like every podcast we do.
There's nothing wrong with glitter.
We will take another trip in the Wayback Machine to probably, I think, like 2010.
Is that the time machine?
Note to the host,
Wayback
can
Machine.
Can you please
Scott.
look up and download the Wayback Machine sound clip? You're going to need that at some point.
Yeah. Anyways, my car at one point in time was a nice all-stock, perfect body, 1985 Toyota Corolla GTS.
Wow.
And wow. And it was pretty nice. The only issue was that, would you look at this?
It was really something. Let me
It was
tell
really
ya.
something. I bought it with a
neat.
shitty flatback paint job. I sanded it down and satin blacked
I'm
it.
sorry, shitty fatback.
Shitty flat.
black.
Asians coming out. Sorry, guys.
God, turn him down.
Yeah, just for a while, and I... Oh, push mic away. Are we better now with sound?
No, you
I was
He's
on
a
it.
bit loud.
Okay.
you were screaming into my ear, and I can feel it bleeding.
Okay.
Mark's
so-
always loud.
I'm pretty loud.
And you're
Not
still
loud as
nothing.
far.
You got nothing, sir.
What is good lube?
Push it further, closer. Okay.
We can hear you now.
So, anyways, like, you know, I think
can't
this kind of
deep-throat
comes
the mic,
along with how
sorry.
like drifting normally goes with people. Though, if they've never crashed before, it's just kind of between who's crashed and who hasn't crashed. And what happened to me was I replaced my power steering rack that I depowered with a manual rack, and it was like
Nothing wrong with a
2
good rack.
a.m. 2 a.m. in the 2 o'clock in the morning before the
Wow.
event. I got my car done, but I didn't center my rack.
Wow.
So
Shift
so
your
I
bra.
was just drifting, doing the whole normal line at Columbus, and on my transition, I tried turning my wheel a little bit further.
Get it closer to you.
A little bit closer.
There you
How
go.
are we? Right there.
You're good.
And
now.
when I was transitioning, I didn't have enough steering lock the one direction, but I had a lot the other. So I drove right into a wall with my sweet Corolla that was nice and unmolested. Well, not unmolested, but it was still a pretty good body, and I crashed the fuck out of it. So, I think by the time I scrubbed all my speed off, because I knew what the hell was going to happen, it was probably maybe like under. It was 20 or under, but it's a Corolla.
Isn't it a common drifter thing to when someone asks how fast? Oh, I was on top of 4.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think for the most part, grassroots events, you're not really, especially in the tracks we're at, you're not really going to be going all that fast anyways.
Right. Most people don't have speedos.
You kind of realize that it's inevitable. That wall's going to happen. You just scrub as much speed as what you can do.
We actually had someone blow out a mic, the board, because of that.
We've actually insulted a hooker because of that.
Yeah.
No, I think that was a mic.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to change that. How do you insult a hooker?
I heard about
Yeah,
they're literally not
no holds bars.
Dave, you were there for that one. Air Force Amy, go.
Yeah,
we had a guy.
No.
It was a mic stand knock. It sounded like though.
No, I'm living it right now.
Wow.
And here we go.
Wow.
Are you live on Defaceballs?
I am live on Defaceballs.
Defaceballs.
But no, we had what?
Let him tell the Air
Yeah,
Force
no
Amy story,
shit.
you
Come
hooker.
on.
God.
I was going to play with your filters and give Hammers a
Sex work
pretty
is socially
hat.
acceptable.
So, anyways, we had this chick on. We were doing a lot of business, not business, but we were.
You were trying.
I would have liked to.
Don't do business with hookers. It's against the law. Top
Depending
tip
on-
of the day.
depending on what's-
That's illegal.
If she's got teeth,
We're
she's a
gonna get
cop.
We're gonna get the FBI back over here again.
That sounds like is that
So, anyways,
same
can I?
for
Hey,
lot lizards?
hold on.
Go on.
God, shut up, Johnny.
Can you please tell a story about a prostitute?
I'm working on it here.
It's a good one.
So we were doing this show, and we had a lot of the girls from the Bunny Ranch calling in. And this is before the whole Omar modem, whatever crap. And she was trying to be all professional in that. And we had one of our guys, and granted, he shut his mic off, stepped away, and belched. She flipped. Apparently, belching is an insult to a prostitute.
It's because that's the noise that makes when they're burping up your cum later. So,
and he gave the best half-assed apology ever done. It was great. It was like 5 minutes just going on. Hold on.
I'm trying to tell you.
Dude,
it was
just
something
wait.
along the lines of I apologize with my legs spread wide open.
oh, I thought it was
Something
more
like
more along the lines of Don Imus. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that.
So it was gold. No, it was just priceless. Like 5 minutes of him apologizing, but at at the same time, pretty much calling her a whore. And as Hammer's freaking out, he jumps off where he was at, goes and calls. Everybody stops and can't figure out what the hell to do next. I jump on the mic because I was just sitting in the background. I'm trying to keep everything rolling. It was fun.
Just like Automotion all over again.
No, Automotion, I was distracted. There was a lot of reasons for that.
Because reasons?
Yeah.
I don't know if I would ever apologize to a hooker for her being a hooker. I'm sorry I gave you money to put my dick in your face. it just, you can't apologize there gingerly. Ooh, now it's silky and buttery smooth.
But no, anybody gets a chance.
You got to move it a little way because I have the smoker's laugh because I was 2 packs a day and I'm in my 30s. I'm going to sound awesome when I'm 60. You'll be like,
just get the little throat thing. You're good.
Cancer kazoo?
Yeah, that's it.
Oh.
So anyways, I guess back to
die from tobacco.
Drifting.
Back to probably drifting.
Back to I guess the broken heart, teal and purple heart.
I will
story on
only
my car.
discuss drifting if you put this fidget spinner in the fucking garbage where it belongs. You straight brim wearing hat douche.
It just happened to fall in my hands. But anyways, back to where we were at the. I got
another one. One for each hand and a dick.
Fidget spinners are well
now.
in stock here.
Wow. Anyways, so what happens with most drifters, I guess, is you're just going to try and pussyfoot it around, but still do as good as you can without trying to murder your car on a wall.
Never pussyfoot it.
So I think what happened with me was after I put my car back together, I just kind of drove harder because I held my car up to a point where I was like, dude, this is a fucking Corolla. I love this car so much, and I don't ever want to damage it. But then after you fuck your car up, you're pretty much just like, I bought this thing to fucking beat the shit out of it and slide it. So
oh my god!
I think you just kind of reach that point where you're like, this is a drift car, man. So let's just try and go all out.
Well,
and it's actually good when you do crash your car, just because it kind of...
He brings up a valid point there.
You do care less, and you just drive a lot harder.
If that's something that I know earlier you asked about beginners coming, and some
phrasing.
Hey, the first time is the best time ever, except for the fact it lasts about 3.5 seconds.
What'd you do?
The thing that I noticed a lot of people, and this comes from autocross. I've done high-speed driving events. Any type of track day involving your car, even if you're just pushing it on the street, there's a thing people tend to forget is if you're going to drive your car anywhere near the limit or your limit, you have to be completely acceptable with writing off your car. Mm-hmm. And that's something that people tend to forget in motorsports, and they lose their shit. If you've seen the video of the guy dancing when he crashes 240 in the wall and like pounding the wheel, you have to be prepared that if you write your car off, shit happens.
Right.
And it's something, when I put my Buick in the ditch at his track, I was pissed because it was my daily, but at the same time, I'm like, I chose to do this. I fucked it up. I took my Cressida down Glendora Mountain Road in California. I'd had it for 2 days. I suffered catastrophic brake failure, and I drove it into the side of the mountain. And the body was perfect on that car. I crushed in the rear quarter a little bit, put some scratches in it, beat it up a little bit, and shredded a tire. And the way I hit, I thought when I got out of this car, the entire back end is missing. And when I got out and saw a dent and a flat tire, I was like, I'm not even mad because I chose to drive like that. So it's something that people tend to forget when you get into motorsports, that you could put $100,000 in a drift car and stuff it into a wall, and you have to be okay with that.
Yeah,
but
you have to know that's part of the game. You know what you're getting into before you get into it.
And that's
you can't be mad.
People don't assume, like, I think a lot of people get into adrenaline sports because they like a roller coaster. But roller coasters, for the most part, they're safety tested. You get a little bit of adrenaline, and there's minimal to no risk.
Go-karting.
Mark will laugh at this, but like last night when I was driving home in the rain, I was kicking the ass into my... Yes. Sound clip that needs to be saved for later. So, driving my car in the rain,
track now.
I'm doing these little bitch slides through the roundabouts, maybe like 7 or 8 degrees, just enough. I'm still learning because I grew up driving that if the SN steps out, you catch that shit right now. So I'm still trying to get that mental block off of just stay in it and quit being a pussy. But I noticed going through a roundabout sideways last night that my adrenaline was fucking just raging. Like, I was really enjoying it. So I'm thinking now, driving here last night or driving home, that like by the end of summer, if I'm hitting 65 miles an hour sideways on a racetrack, I'm going to have just this raging mega huge car boner, and it's going to be excellent. So I can see why he got into it. I never really understood drifting until going to his events. Like, I understood you can slide a corner, but why do that? Why push a car like that? Because you can get around a corner faster with grip. But following guys up in the mountains, especially in California, I learned that there's certain corners that if you're sideways through them, you're faster. Mm-hmm. And that's made me want to push my skill to learn to drive quicker. Another thing that I would recommend is if you're kind of a grip guy like I am, where you want to see how hard you can get around a corner without fishtailing, go to his events and learn how to slide a car, because those skills will save your ass later. If you've watched...
Well, yeah, I mean, if you're really getting into a massive slide...
Yeah,
it'll help you out, because if you're getting into a massive slide, learning how to do this stuff will actually help you get out of that massive slide instead of getting worse.
And there's things like, if you go to a Medicine Sports Car Club event or an SCCA, they don't like drifting. If you step the ass ender out in an autocross, they're yelling at you, and you're like, well, sorry, I used too much throttle.
When I started racing my Corolla, I did autocross.
Yeah.
Every time that rear end came out, they were not pleased.
And doesn't autocross, as much as... And I'm kind of assuming that there's no one from SCCA or from Medicine Sports Car Club listening here. Well, you.
Wow.
But someone in charge of a rule book, can you stop letting assholes do tech, and you're letting safety ruin your sport?
No one else would run.
I think you offended someone there.
They are pushing it so hard. I tried to...
I don't know. When I did SCCA, tech was pretty lenient. As long
Tech-
as you had
tech
a
is
Snell
lenient.
helmet and no shit in your car.
But there are points at which I'm seeing cars that, because they're friends with...
You guys know we can hear that through the mics, right?
Yeah, and it's annoying.
That's why I keep looking like, what the
They're
hell?
literally touching tips here. Put the Beyblades away and grow the fuck up.
Damn kids.
Like, the problem with motorsports...
I was about to put him in the shadow realm. So.
Oh, boy.
Upside down.
You guys want some privacy for that one?
So
we got a darker room back there.
The thing I've noticed with motorsport that has really changed, but has not changed in especially grassroots drifting, is that you can run what you brung and have a good time. And God forbid if you're at any competitive level of like autocross, something where you've invested a lot of time and money in setting up your car, and you go to an event and you're just about to make it to nationals, and some guy doesn't like that you're, well, I think he skirted 3 points here, and sometime you manage to lose your standing, and you're not going to nationals anymore because somebody didn't like how you beat them in runoffs because they misshifted. I'm not speaking from experience or anything here.
Well,
but
probably try not to suck at driving, and you won't.
Well, exactly. But I mean, dude, the class I was in with my MR2 I was very, very overclassed there. But I was the retard who decided that an AW11 with minimal suspension mods, okay brakes, and 225 horse at the S end was a good mix. And it's really not when you're trying to drive it on the street. It's a riot, but it ended up being more of a drag car than an actual cornering car, because if you got anything more than half throttle, the blower would kick on and step the S end out, and you had to fight it. So
yeah, I fucked up by having a fully gutted 86 Corolla with cams and a limited slip, so I got put in with all the Corvettes. And
yeah, exactly. Yeah, because you didn't know if you take the interior out of your car, it's a race car.
It wasn't good.
Yeah, and
did not do well.
That's what I like about Mark's thing is I've seen guys show up with literally every type of car, from Corollas to 40s. All of these.
We had an S10 show up at our season closer.
Yeah, I mean that's.
Oh, really?
Ranger, whatever the shit.
Wow,
how did small pickup
as long as it wasn't called a Danger
Scott
Ranger.
teched it. I did not approve.
So how did that turn out? Just out of dumb curiosity or something like that.
It was a four-banger. It had bench seats. Usually bench seats are a no-no. But
That's why I drift with one arm.
Because it was a four-banger, in my experience with
he wouldn't have gone fast enough to hurt himself.
He can't go fast enough to hurt himself.
He passed him on tech.
At which point...
I told Scott not to pass him, but he passed him.
I passed him in the novelty of watching this car go out there.
You just wanted to see what would happen.
Yeah, pretty much.
Scott just wanted to see carnage.
It's an open differential, stick shift, four-banger, Ford Ranger on stock suspension. What are you going to do?
Now, have you ever, just had somebody pull up and look at him and you're just like, no, go home?
I had one, actually. Who was that 300ZX that did MDU?
Ours?
Brandon?
Yeah,
it'd be Brandon.
Yeah, Brandon.
Kutrovac.
Yeah, Kutrovac. When he first showed up to his first event, I was looking at that car with disdain because it was the rattiest C31 I've ever seen. And dude showed up, and the frame rails were gone out of it, and everything else like that.
I've owned multiple C31s.
But I said to him, if you can make it one lap, I'll let this thing roll. Because it wasn't leaking anything. It was just structurally not 100%. But his attitude out there proved to me that that's fine. He's not going to blame us if his car rips in half. So
yeah,
basically you run at your own risk, anyways, right?
Essentially, yeah.
Andy was a really good driver. So
Brandon
is
really
good.
Amazing.
He put on a good show.
Absolutely.
Who was the dude we used to know with the automatic 240?
Which one?
They all
Black
crashed.
Dude. Non-threatening black guy A.
Oh, that's that's Jesus.
There used to be two black guys that we knew. Maurice, yes.
Yes.
That's a new one, Hammer.
So
Non-threatening black guy.
So there used to be two guys that we hung out with
Gentlemen of distinguished
every night,
color A.
and one night we were both hauling ass down East Wash, and we decided that Bell, ding, 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 ding. That's the feculator.
I was vaping.
When people
So
look at this, they shit themselves.
exactly, that is one of the best movies ever. I'm just leaving it at that. Dogma is exactly where it is. Pretty much anything by Kevin Smith was good. But
shout out to Smodcast.
yeah, of course. He's not joking. Every time I go into the shop, that's what he's listening to. But this kid could drive an automatic shit pile faster than I've seen someone really. And I'm not talking like I built a race car with an automatic. I'm talking this is a rotted out S13 with an automatic and a parking brake that barely works. And he's hanging roundabouts with a stock single cam KA it's
There's
nobody's
this guy that
business.
shows up at Club FR with an automatic GS 300 that rocks advanced course all day.
How well do automatics do on stuff like this?
It's all momentum drifting.
Yeah, it is.
You pretty much have to keep in it, and once you lose that momentum where you can't physically clutch kick or do anything with manual transmission, you're done.
You know, with your Panther, you know when you're trying to drive around the street and you goose it and it steps it a little bit and you're like, I'm a fucking hero. You ever gotten off a ramp too fast and it starts to go and you just bury your foot in it? Because you still have air suspension in the back of your car?
No,
Okay.
I never had it. My car doesn't have
So
the air
the
ride.
Marquis, especially, if you want to really hustle them, you got to go into a corner faster than your brain says, I'm okay with this. But the car can still do it.
Yeah.
It's just that there's so much body roll, you think the
yeah.
car's going to flip over. When you can hustle into a corner like that, if you apply power with your car at that point...
But I got a lot wider
doing.
tires on my car than the stock originally came with.
I used to run Bridgestone RE11s
No, I got the same engine.
on my P71.
No, it's still the 4.6. But I've got Mustang wheels that are a lot wider.
My squad car, when I was in Cali, I had low-profile RE11s on it. They're sticky as hell. And they last like 4,000 miles on a car that weighs the better side of 2 tons. And in the mountain, if I wanted that car to slide, I had to go way too fast.
Oh, yeah.
And then it would come out, and it was like you're fighting this thing, and it's too big, but you're using the inertia of the car at that point to slide around. What's really fun when your inertia is when you start to lose the front end, too, and you can get the whole car to balance through a corner with the throttle. That's when you start getting to that point that you're getting all hot and bothered in the car. That's like the best thing ever. I picked a Cressida for what I'm going to do with it because I want a car that's not engineered for what I'm trying to do with it because I got to work it harder. And it's like if you take a car with an automatic and you can go faster than everybody, but you have the skill, yeah, you can slide it because it's there. You know, the SC300, obviously, it's a luxury coupe. It wasn't designed to fucking drift, but you can do it with a speed. So I don't know where I'm going with that. You would have more experience with the sideways action than I would, but...
Well, there was a car in Final Bout 1 on Team Braking.
Wow.
There was a JZX 100 Mark II automatic that competed in Final Bout. And if you would just see him run the train with his team... You really couldn't tell.
How did no one phrase that?
I know, right? I laughed.
I've been here for 20 minutes and I under get that.
Speaking of trains and whatnot, sorry to get a little off topic because...
If you bring up that V7 Daily Driver video where Brandon smacks into Tyler, I'm so sick of that video.
No. I'm talking about when back when Final Bout was a thing, we decided to put a team together with our staff members of South Society back in the day.
Except me.
Team Nice.
Oh, Team Nice.
Yeah, this is back then.
You're also bringing up...
Anyways.
Danger Dudes?
We know that...
I have a big name of...
No Danger Dudes?
So anyways, we're trying to figure stuff out and whatnot. The whole team was going together. It was 5 eyes for... It was Team Nice with 5 eyes for 5 guys. And
they all
we
touch
were
dicks.
coming up with just
Burgers and fries.
what our tandem positions would be and whatnot with our
Docking.
cars. So one of our teammates at the time and staff member, Skylar.
I don't know, I got bumped from behind and now my back end's covered in oil.
We decided that he'd be in the back when we were
As long as
talking
it's not
about
Johnny.
everything.
I didn't say fire, I said lube.
And
Johnny, yeah.
And since he was going to be in the back of our tandem train every time in competition, that we gave him the nickname of Power Bottom.
There's a lot of phrasing going here. I'm not even going to keep going.
So I convinced Skylar that his nickname should be Power Bottom from then on. And for a solid month, because he's a caboose, he's like, well, what's that mean? I was like, it just means you're the caboose, man. You're like, you're the power in the back of us. So he's like, Power Bottom. I like that. So for a solid month, he was just all about being Power Bottom, man. And I don't know if you understand what a power bottom is, but basically he generates the thrust.
Yes, he does.
I can see even present day he'd be okay with that.
So Skylar, one day I showed up at Kel's house, who was my vice president at the time and other teammate. He finally caved in and told Skylar what a power bottom was. And Skylar was less than impressed at the fact that he was totally behind that. He was totally behind the.
It's the 21st century.
I
it's
can
okay
still
to be
see
that.
him now being okay with it, knowing what it was as a joke, anyway.
Yeah, that's. Yeah.
2 girls, 1 cup is okay. 1 guy, 1 jar is much
One man,
more
one
acceptable.
jar
We've
is.
we've had it.
There we go.
We've had it on this show.
It's excellent.
Yep.
But
All right, sorry. We were talking about being in the back.
When
so
you
I had
said
to bring up
when you
caboose.
said Team Nice, you made me think of Cam, and Cam used to have one of them Christmas tree air fresheners hanging from his Corolla, and he got stopped by the cops once, and they're like, "What's that?" It's not like a gang symbol, and he looked right at the cop with a straight face. So, I'm just trying to keep it fresh.
Now, have you guys ever had anybody that has started fresh at one of your guys' events and actually moved up to a higher level, or
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Define higher.
say like
Pro-Am.
pro or
Yes,
something like that?
yes.
You guys
Many,
have?
many.
Yeah.
Give
Oh, wow.
him the mic. He's got the story apparently.
No.
We all said yes.
Caleb, you can take it from there, man. Yeah.
We have like this many people that have done that.
Really?
Yeah,
Sweet.
we have a hand of people that went pro-am.
Prem's pretty attainable.
Mark has destroyed something.
Mark always destroys shit.
Whatever this is.
Move your fat legs.
Putting that there. Just go.
Anyway, so the amount of MDU drivers that have come out of slide study events. Midwest Drift Union, which is now defunct as of this year.
Yeah, it's all done.
4 days ago.
R.I.P. It was the Midwest's.
We had
only-
Brandon, Matt, Jake, Brian Peter, which went from Formula D, then to MDU.
Jake
Reeser.
NSLD.
Yeah, well, I said Jake.
Something like that.
There might be a few more, but Matt.
Mark.
I said Matt.
Did you
I
say
said
Matt?
Brandon. I said
Matt,
Jake.
Brandon, Jake.
Is this
Well,
wrong?
Brian, but he's kind of a shoe-in because he was Formula D before he went to Jeremiah. May he rest in peace.
Rest in pieces.
I think they're talking about starting off at our events and then graduating, but that would be a people.
That's kind of where I was
who are
going.
in MDU that have been to our events and everything like that.
Well, Matt Sopa then.
Moist.
He started out in our events
Absolutely.
and went to MDU.
Yep. We've got a few. Like I said, what I like best about what we do is like in the beginning of the season, there's lots of beginners and whatnot, and
Yeah.
just watching them slowly progress to like being competent drifters. It's my dick. Right there.
That's one of
Thank
the
you
most
for that,
fun
Scott.
things at the event is watching someone progress.
It's
throughout
watching
the year.
someone just constantly spin out and just try and just keep coming after it, even after the first drift days that they're at. And they go from spinning out and kind of just pussyfooting it around, but they find it starts clicking, and all,
And then they have that one super solid run.
They start firing off all 4 cylinders or 8 or whatever the fuck you got, and man, it's
I
just
want to
really
drift
cool
my
to see
Bugatti,
that.
please.
Yeah.
So, and then at the
I
end of the
get pretty
season, you're
excited when I see
tandeming with
that.
them. It's just fantastic. You're like,
Talk into the mic.
That's something.
still better? Okay, I'm just gonna swing that over to me. Did you hear any of that though?
Yeah, we
Oh, okay.
Just
One-
really muted.
So
Gotcha.
I'm taking all of your PBR.
One thing I would
It's okay,
recommend to
Danny.
people
Danny's
too
an
that
alcoholic.
are trying to get into.
Don't drink and drive.
I know. I ride with him almost every
I'm
day.
not driving.
Well, he's got 4 down
I'm
now.
not driving, so I can keep going.
I
It's
am.
fine.
Anybody who's trying to get any type of motorsports in like starting out, there's a point at which you have to remember if you're going a moderate speed and you fuck up, you still fucked up and you're still going to destroy your car. So go out, take your dick, put it on the table, be a real man about it. And if you fuck it up, you fuck it up. But you'll struggle harder if you're trying half-assed. Like, get over that fear right away. Like, when I first started driving the mountains quickly, I thought I was going quick, and I wasn't going fast at all. And then I started getting with people that were really motivating, and I realized that if I go off the side of the mountain at 40 or I go off of it at 60, I'm
You're
still
still
driving
dead.
off the side of the mountain.
No,
You're still
you-
fucked at that
you
point.
have to fully commit.
Yeah, and that's the
to
thing. If you
something.
fully commit to something, like that's what I've been fighting in my head with the drifting, going from grip to drift, is like keep in it. I'm yelling at myself as I'm driving when it steps out because my back end steps out and I'm letting off the throttle and my brain's gonna be like, stay in it, And I did that with pushing my motorcycle harder. Was, you grow up and you learn how to ride a bike quickly, and then you realize how fast the fast guys are, and you're like, you know what? Go faster. You'll have more grip, and when you get to that fine razor's edge.
Same thing with horsepower.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the same thing. People go in half-footed, not really sure of
Yeah.
what they're going to do, and then those are the people that will most likely fuck up.
Yeah.
Because they don't commit from point 1 all the way through the end. They're not fully committed to
Yeah.
what they're doing, and then most likely they're going to fuck up.
Turn off the mechanical empathy, beat the shit out of that
Yeah.
thing you're driving, and have a good day.
Although he just brought up something that I was wondering. You guys ever had any motorcycles at the event?
Yes.
Any drift bikes?
Yes.
Yes.
Really?
No,
Automotion.
Not really drift bikes, but
We
they
have
just
stunters.
during
no.
during
I was
automotion.
at Low Style Heroes, and some dude on a crotch rocket was actually in grid next to me and started drifting the course on a crotch rocket.
Wow.
Right.
You know what the problem with drifting a motorcycle is? If no one's ridden a bike, I don't know who's ridden, but when you get to that angle where you can actually hold the bike in a slide, and I'm not speaking from experience, but I've watched guys eat it. If you start to kick the tail end out and your bike's got enough power to keep that tire going, that's excellent. Because when you're on a bike, the last thing you want to do when you're knee down in a corner is have that rear end slide and then catch, because it'll do what's called a high side, where both the wheels dig in, they become a pivot point, and it will eject you from the motorcycle. And I've had a high side at 70 miles an hour, and it ate a massive bag of dicks. I came off the highway at 70 miles an hour because someone changed lanes into me, and all I remember seeing was ground sky, ground sky, ground sky, ground sky, not even thinking about traffic, and then looking up and realizing, holy shit, there's cars coming at me at 70. And then I picked up the remnants of my GS and pushed it to the shoulder and called the highway patrol, and after 10 minutes of them saying, put me on hold, I said, fuck this, I'm going to work. And, yeah, that was crap, but that's the
GS?
Yeah, I had a BMW, F800 GS BMW. I had it all set up for adventure.
I have a Suzuki GS.
Wow. Also a good motorcycle.
I have an XS.
You have an XS? XS R900?
650.
Good bike, though. I have a.
See a picture of it.
My current.
I have a Suzuki GS 550.
My current motorcycle is totally commuter.
Cafe racer dog.
I have a 2015 Honda CB500X. It's 40 horsepower of just get me around.
It looks awesome.
That works pretty good.
No, your new bike is sex.
And
I've seen GTO's drifting, Tiffany.
I'll steal that thing. Reese Millen
That's all I have to say.
I like that. That's a good looking bike.
It's cool. Yeah.
If
it's going sideways, I like it.
Yeah,
my only gripe with this would be
completely redone. New shocks, new seat, new everything.
Can you put a fender on the back of the tire? I don't need a whole front fender covering the whole tire, but just the back. Because
I can do whatever I want. It's mine.
It looks great. The problem I have when guys run no front fender is at some point you're going to pick up a very sharp piece of object off the road, and it's going to hit you in the shin or the face. And I'd rather take it in the face because I wear a helmet.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm pretty okay with no front fender.
The people nowadays, the motorcycle guys, the cafe racers, the bobbers, and everything.
Hey. That's me.
I can't.
We'll kill all of us. Careful.
This guy.
The problem I have with your cafe guy is there's two kinds of cafe. There's guys that
hack everything up.
Yeah.
Hey.
I'm cool with that.
No,
you bought it.
You bought it like that, Caleb.
You bought it.
Your fab skills are unimpressive.
I polished it up and made it okay.
There's two ways to do a cafe bike.
Barely.
That are appropriate. One of which is cut everything because nothing's sacred. And I've seen mint condition old CBs that would be worth $10,000 because they're perfect, and someone's bobbed it, but they spent the time, they've done it right, and the thing looks bitchin', and it actually rides pretty good.
I have one for sale.
Well, my frame is uncut, and all the bare metal is polished.
See, that's a plus.
And the frame is powder coated, no rust.
And did you buy that? Did you build that bike or buy it or whatever to ride it aggressively like a cafe, or did you buy it to ride it around and look cool?
I bought it
to look cool.
Cruise it.
Okay, so I don't. It's weird. Like I'm complex.
Can you drive a cafe aggressively? I think
that's the whole point of it. The original point. And here's something that
really.
cafe racer gets. Cafe racer gets.
Yeah, I have a latte in my left hand, so I mean I can't really go that fast.
Back in the day, cafe racers used to get badges for going 100. So this is a little bit different.
I have a East Cafe on the sticker on the back of my bike, so that counts for something.
Yeah,
right?
it does. I mean, cafe bikes are just like rat rods. The term has been generically used for so long that it's become, if you built a shit pile hot rod, it's a rat rod now, even though the whole point of original a rat rod or a cafe bike was you took a minimal budget and tried to make the thing as fast as you could. I mean, you're talking like an old Royal Enfield or a Norton that made the better side of 30 horsepower, taking weight off it and improving aerodynamics and putting yourself on a full tuck that'll kill your wrists in 3 years. Those were fun. I've ridden some of those. I've ridden a guy that built an old BSA cafe bike, and it's the most fun I've ever had with 22 horsepower.
Wow.
I mean, it doesn't rev, it doesn't have brakes, it doesn't have suspension, but when you get it,
is it
clicks.
a bike?
Yeah,
it's a
my
BSA.
bike was the luxury model of the GS.
Yeah.
Everything got stripped off of it.
Well, like I've seen a guy
removed,
I've seen a guy cafe a wing. You know, you cafe a gold wing, it can still work really well. It's just
sign me up.
Knowing what
Scott,
you want
you
on your bike.
Motorcycles, quiet.
But motorcycling is an interesting thing. Is that it's one
you
of
just
the
said drive motorcycles.
Technically, in California, I have a California motorcycle driver's license.
Is that good? Bad?
Well, it's he said drivers because he's saying you ride a motorcycle instead of drive it, but you can also drive a plane.
All right,
drive a plane until it takes off.
I don't mean to cut you off, but we're kind of running out of time
Yeah,
here.
I'm sorry. I'm all over the place.
No, that's okay. Hijack the show.
I have ADD and ADHD. ADD's friends. So.
So you have
somebody out ADD you?
That's okay. With
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wait, are there hosts for this
Hummer.
show?
Hummer.
Yeah.
Squirrel.
Kind of. We try.
Left.
What?
Squirrel.
Why did you wrap the cord there in tinfoil? I'm kind of confused by that.
We bought this house from somebody else.
Interference.
All right. So, anyways,
drifting.
Is that to keep the aliens out of your power cords?
Yes.
Okay, that's
drifting.
good.
I'm just gonna drifting. I gotta thank them.
Drifting.
Well, I want to just say, thanks you guys for coming. I mean, it's been an awesome show.
Yeah.
You know what? Fuck it. We're out.